It's been a while since week 1, but the Alouettes are finally on their home turf again, where they're looking to bounce back after suffering their first loss of the season last weekend. It is superhero night in Montreal, and the BC Lions, well, they're looking to put a halt to their 3-game losing skid. That Lions offense, which hasn't scored more than 20 points in any game during this losing streak, gets a huge boost with the return of quarterback Nathan Rourke. He missed back-to-back contests with that oblique injury. And you know, linebacker Tyrese Beverett and company will be ready for him. Montreal's defense had a rough outing in week 4, giving up a season-high 35 points to the Ticats. They're hoping to get back on track here tonight. Little Saturday night football, CFL edition. You've got the backup quarterback here with you tonight. I'm Laura Dyken. Kate Burness will be back tomorrow. We've got Enoch Mwamba as well as Paul LaPolice. So the quarterback's a big story coming into this game. We know from Montreal, no Davis Alexander once again, so it'll be McLeod Bethel-Thompson taking over the starting duties, while BC gets its number 1 back. So, Paul, expectations for Mr. Nathan Rourke, and I mean, not an easy matchup to come back into after missing 2 games.
First of all, I'm pretty bummed out that I didn't know Superhero Night. We should have dressed up as superheroes. All 3 of us could have been really amazing. That would look good. All right, Nathan Rourke, what can I expect? What can we expect from him? First of all, versus this pressured defense Montreal loves to do, they put people up at the line of scrimmage, they drop everybody out, and they try to disguise and confuse you. He brings a decisive decision-making process as a quarterback. So I expect the ball out of his hands very quickly. Again, BC doesn't get sacked a lot. They're the best in the CFL. But they do have to protect the football better. I know he hasn't been in the game for a lot of these, but they've given up the most giveaways in the CFL with 14 of them. And let me go into the stats a little bit, Enoch. Sometimes I do a little too much studying in stats. Where if they want to win the football game, they got to be better at the red zone. And what the red zone is, from the 20-yard line in, they are last in scoring at 46%, and the top team in the CFL is first at like 86%. Shows you the discrepancy. And defensively, they've given up a touchdown almost 80% of the time when teams are in that area. If they can get more touchdowns there and eliminate, they're in a better situation.
Coach, what I've been looking forward to is basically the Hamilton Tiger Cats gave the blueprint. You know what it is in the CFL. It's a copycat league, right? And so they watched the film, too. The BC Lions did. Buck Pierce watched the film, too. And one of the things that was impressive when you watch the film in that last week's game is the fact that Bo Levi Mitchell was extremely patient. Will Nathan Rourke, Buck Pierce be patient enough as well against this Montreal defense?
You were the Flash. We're going to make you the Flash after your performance on Thursday. Your superhero power, Paul, of course, the research.
Was cows.
I like it. Week 5 in the CFL continues next. Here.
The research.
Yeah, I'm a dork, too. I got it with you, buddy. Me and you.
Domination is part of my whole equation. Subtracting all the haters, I call it annihilation. Multiple sensations, I added my concentration. I'm focused on the wins, there's never no contemplating. They watching what I do, so they copy that. There's only one real, surrounded by some copycats. Cheap imitations, but never authentic. I'm as real as they come, and I'm all with it.
You may have heard Save on Foods had a $1 million winner on Friday night, and they have made the decision to make a second $1 million prize available. Save on Foods wants another winner, and there's lots of time left in the season for this to happen. It's so exciting to finally have a $1 million winner. I mean, we've had 19 occurrences of a kickoff return for a touchdown during Save on Foods' time as the title sponsor, and I guess the 20th time was the charm. Deborah Prochaski of Vancouver, BC, this is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. Again, if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown, you could win groceries for a year, and if 2 are returned for touchdowns, like last night, you could also win $1 million. So good luck to you, Deborah, as we head to Montreal now, where we find Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Lauren. A beautiful summer Saturday night here in Montreal, and the Alouettes are finally back home again. First time they'll play here in a month. Back then it was against the Argos in their season opener. They come back leading the division at 3-1. BC Lions, Dwayne, still looking for their second win of the season after winning their opener. Nathan Rourke was great in that game. He's missed the last two with an oblique injury, but back starting tonight.
Yeah, and obviously this is something the BC Lions look forward to, having their starting quarterback, a playmaker that he has proven to be over the course of his career, back in the lineup. And of course, McLeod Bethel Thompson makes his second consecutive start, replacing the injured Davis Alexander from Montreal. A loss last week against Hamilton, but looking to bounce back here.
And Jason Mosdwayne said about that loss, we got to be better at protecting the ball. And Buck Pierce can relate. They lost the turnover battle last week in Saskatchewan 4-0, including a pick six late in the first half that really changed the entire tone of that game. So BC fell to 1-3. As mentioned, looking for win number 2. They won the toss, and they want the ball too. Robert Carter will be back to field it, one of the two Lions back there along with Jermaine Jackson. First meeting of the season. BC, Montreal, Saturday night. Glad you could join us as Week 5 continues in the CFL on TSN off the Jose Maltos kick. Jackson takes it at the 15. He gets up to the 30, about the 32, and it's Alex Gagne, the special teams tackles leader in the CFL, adding to his total there, as we will see Nathan Rourke coming out again. Last played in Week 2 against Winnipeg, and as mentioned, threw for over 300 yards in the season opener, a victory over Edmonton.
Yeah, and one of the big things that's been talked about, obviously, from that first game against Winnipeg, the one that Nathan Rourke did start, was the amount of pressure that he faced in that ball game. You know you're going to get some of the same from Montreal, even if the look is different. Pressure is certainly the premise of their defense. How will the BC Lions handle that here today?
Bombers did a great job defending against Rourke, but did complete a couple of deep passes, was able to run as well. And he will take off here now. He's had over 50 yards rushing in each of the first two games. Good start on the ground for BC as Rourke runs for a first down.
Well, taking a look at the rest of this offense, Anu Una, second-year man from the University of Windsor, makes his first start of the season at right guard for the BC Lions. Keep an eye on Justin McInnes, something of a homecoming for the Pierrefonds, Quebec native here today, looking to get his game going in this BC Lions offense.
Rourke had 11 carries for 112 yards rushing and a touchdown coming into this game. He picked up 12 more yards there for number 12. Across the 40 and a first down BC. Opening possession on this Saturday night. Back to the ground. And the rushing leader, second in the league. That's James Butler for BC on that carry.
And defensively for these Montreal Alouettes, Sean Oakman has found himself a home after going from Toronto to Edmonton last year. Strong start here in Montreal. Tyrese Beverette, kind of quiet for one of the top defensive players in the league, but we know he's always lurking. And Deontay Ruffin makes his first start of the season at the boundary corner spot. He's in for Lorenzo Burns this week.
There is Deontay Ruffin. Started his career with Calgary. Went over, won a Grey Cup in 23 with the Alouettes. Starting tonight, flag out with the pass. It's intended for Keon Hatcher, as those two have been really clicking again, as they did in 2022, but the flag dropped right away with the snap of the ball.
Offside, Montreal number 96. 5-yard penalty will repeat, second down.
Turns out to be a free down, as announced by the referee Tom Valesi, that'll move it into a second and short for the Lions.
Well, Uguak from his DN spot called 96. It looked like it was just inside of him where the early movement happened.
Some bigger backs come in. Xander Horvath, Riley Pickett, the fullback. And a test for Noel Thorpe's Alouette defense that has been top rated so far in this young Canadian Football League season. It's a 2nd and 2, just shy of midfield. On the ground, Butler has the first down, midfield, and a little bit more, another yard to spare. They move the sticks again and get it in Alouettes territory.
Well, you know that the BC Lions want to establish the line of scrimmage. That means the ground game. Xander Horvath in as the blocking back for James Butler. The rare true two-back set here in the Canadian Football League.
Couple of first downs in this drive for Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions. Looking to throw as he rolls to the right. He does. Wide open and caught. Another first down. It's Justin McInnes from Pierrefonds, Quebec. And a trip closer to home back for McInnes, who was the leading receiver in the CFL last year.
And McInnes lines up out wide. You're going to see the flat route kind of pull coverage towards the sidelines. Opens up a window, allowing McInnes to just sit it down. Rourke finds him as the Lions are marching.
Justin McInnes, first Canadian to lead the CFL in receiving last year since Andy Fantuz back in 2010. So down to the 32 and a 1st and 10, and Rourke to throw again. Down, deep, right, and it's intercepted in the end zone. Cabianento in coverage on Keon Hatcher, and wisely takes a knee in the end zone to push him out further. And nothing for BC. An impressive start, but Rourke tried that one, and he is picked off for just the second time this season. Took a look. Hatcher one-on-one with Ento, who goes up and gets it. Montreal ball in a scoreless tie.
Missed opportunity here for the Lions. They're looking for Keon Hatcher. He's running sort of a skinny corner here. You're going to see Ento in coverage. He's manned up against him. This ball's just got to get a little bit more to the outside. Throw hangs inside. That allows Ento with inside position to shield off the receiver and go get it.
McLeod Bethel Thompson at quarterback again, and a big pickup on first down for Sean Thomas Erlington. The Alouettes ran only 10 times for 38 yards last week in Hamilton. Jason Moss wanting to run the football more.
And nice cutback here from Sean Thomas Erlington. The right side of that line, Jamar McGloster, fullback David Dallaire. And to get that backside sealed off, allowing Erlington to bend it back and then get north-south.
Picked up 15 yards there. He gained only 1 yard on 2 carries last week. Has the ball again, and he got more than a yard. He burst through. Micah Holloway chasing him out. Like he disappeared for a while. The whistle didn't blow, and out popped 21 for 20 more yards in the Alouettes.
Went in one side of the pile, came out the other side, still on his feet. Nice effort here from Sean Thomas Erlington. There you see him disappear into the mound of bodies. Puts a hand down to help keep his balance and keeps on trucking.
So he's got 35 yards and 2 carries now. Certainly an improvement on last week against the Tiger Cats. 1st and 10 at the BC 45. Bethel Thompson throwing now to Tyson Philpott. Keeps his feet. He's still moving. He's breaking free for an Alouette touchdown. Wow, what a start by Montreal. 45 yards, 3 plays, and touchdown number 3 in the year for Tyson Philpott.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's wearing his dad's old number 6. Corey was occasionally known as Quick 6 in his playing days. I think Tyson might be quicker 6 after watching this play. Little high step and turns on the Jets. He knows, feels Gary Peters on his heels. Steps through, little straight arm at the end and in for the major. Montreal Alouettes, how terrific is it for them to have a healthy Tyson Philpott in the lineup?
The point after for Jose Maltos after a 3-play, 80-yard drive. Thomas Erlington, then Bethel Thompson with his 2nd touchdown pass of the season. Short one there, and Tyson Philpott does the rest. Takes off into the end zone. Alouettes leads 7-0.
Not an immediate turnaround, but this still constitutes points off turnovers for the Montreal Alouettes. An interception by Cabianento gets it started. And then it's the Canadians getting it done on offense for the Alouettes. A couple of Sean Thomas Erlington runs, followed by the catch and run from Tyson Philpott for the major, as they take take an early lead here against the visiting BC Lions.
Finished off by Philpott, but point well made by you in the turnover, something Jason Moss thought has to change, as mentioned, from last week when they lost the turnover battle to the Ticats. This time they get a quick pick in the end zone, denying points, and then they score their own, and a good hit there on Jermaine Jackson. Gets helped up on that return up around the 30. So Nathan Rourke. And BC's offense, a flag coming out as well, and another one dropping late. But for Rourke, they were working down the field and took that shot into the end zone that was intercepted. Speaking of turnovers, the Lions were -4 in that department, and they are last in the CFL at -8. Montreal leads at +5. Another difference to consider, especially the way this game has started. A little discussion on those flags has said one came out well after the whistle had blown. But there it is now, updated. +6, -9. So the gap widening between the Lions and Alouettes in that important department.
That has been in the Jason Moss era here in Montreal, certainly part of their formula for success. Take care of the football offensively and aggressively go after it on D.
2 turnovers last week in Hamilton resulted in 2 Tiger Cats touchdowns.
We have 2 misconduct fouls on the play. A 15-yarder on BC 26 and a 10-yarder on Montreal 26. We're going to go back 5 yards. It'll be first down.
That would be Robert Carter of the Lions and Tyrese Beverette of the Alouettes.
We'll take a look at the tail end of this one. You see number 26 Carter gets involved. 26 Beverette for Montreal.
On the toss right for Butler. And Darnell Sankey coming in and tackles him after a couple of yards there for the Lions running back.
Well, a ground battle in this game between a couple of former Hamilton Tiger Cat backfield teammates, Sean Thomas Erlington, now with Montreal, and James Butler, who returned to the BC Lions this offseason.
He comes into this week second in rushing behind A.J. Ouellette. Had a good day on the ground in Saskatchewan in a losing cause last week. Rourke, second down with time, completes it 2 up around the BC 50. Another big passing play, and that's the first one of the evening for Javon Catoy, and 23 yards for BC.
And I like the poise of Nathan Rourke on this play against Montreal. You're always trying to sort things out. So you see at the start of this play, 7 guys up at the line of scrimmage. Ultimately, it ends up just being a 4-man rush. And you see Rourke kind of navigates that, sorts it out, realizes after moving around a little bit, he's got time in the pocket. He doesn't need to take off, resets his feet, and throws that dart down the middle to Javon Catoy.
His last start in Winnipeg in week 2, he did never seem to have much time to settle in that pocket. All that pressure from the Bombers. Well, looking for a spot, and he can't find it there. Byron Vaughn's a slew of Alouette defenders in there on James Butler for no gain.
Yeah, Byron Vaughn's one of the handful of newcomers on this Alouettes D. Coming from the right side of your screen, realizes quarterback's not keeping, so he continues to crash down on the play, getting involved. Initially, the contained man sees that handoff and just goes. He's the unblocked man. Essentially, he's being blocked by the threat of the quarterback pulling the ball. But quick reaction there from the first-year Alouette.
No gain, 2nd and 10. Rourke throwing again, and no. Wanted Aiden Eberhardt, and Ento again. And he's been a nuisance. He had the interception in the end zone to snuff out an impressive drive by BC to open up this game. Ento right there. Incomplete it is. 3rd and 10 coming up here for the Lions. He's made some big plays in an Alouette uniform. Thinking of 23. Pick 6 against Toronto in the East Final. He had a big interception in the Grey Cup as well. James Letcher Jr. standing back for this Carl Meyer punt. Myers at the Lions 35. Letcher back at the Alouette 10. Comes up tracks it, takes it, and out of bounds he goes at about the 26. The last time the Alouettes had the ball, it took only 3 plays, capped off by the Tyson Philpott 45-yard touchdown, his 3rd of this young season. His Alouettes leading it early here in Montreal. McLeod Bethel-Thompson, veteran quarterback, first year with Montreal, and this his 2nd start in place of the injured Davis Alexander.
Yeah, and obviously well-traveled veteran. McLeod Bethel-Thompson spent last season as an Edmonton Elk. Prior to that, a year away from the CFL. After being Grey Cup champion with the Toronto Argonauts. He's here filling in for the injured Davis Alexander, still nursing that hamstring injury.
Still unbeaten as a starting quarterback, 7-0. Won't be proven otherwise. He gets in there again. A flag out of the handoff to a new running back, Travis Tice, the rookie. Tice has the ball out of South Dakota. And the flag came out just at the start of that play.
Offside. BC number 0. 5-yard penalty. Will repeat, first down.
So a 1st and 5 coming up now for the Alouettes. Sione Tehema flag for that offside.
Yeah, left side of that defensive line there you see. Leo's defensive end just lined up within a yard of the line of scrimmage. So offside.
From the Montreal 32, 2nd possession Alouettes, and a 7-0 lead. Back to Tice on the 1st and 5. Eludes a tackle, and Montreal already is running the ball far better than they did last week in Hamilton.
Offensively for Montreal, they want to set the tone at that line of scrimmage and be physical. Pierre-Olivier Lestage is the guy who leads them in that regard. He's at left guard. Jalen Wayne makes his 1st start of the season for the Alouettes. Big body in that receiving core. He's in place of the injured Austin Mack.
So a 1st down. Already the Alouettes have run for 41 yards. As mentioned, they had 38 all game last week in Hamilton. 6 on the board for Travis Tice there, and a 1st down to the 38. Bethel-Thompson fakes to him. He rolls left, and he completes it too. And still on his feet, and looks like getting a 1st down on the 2nd effort is Tyler Sneed, one of their top receivers so far for Montreal this year.
Defensively for these BC Lions, couple injuries in the interior of their D-line. Gives an opportunity for Tomasi Lalile to fill in the interior. Micah Awe, the heat-seeking missile, is at middle linebacker. And Christophe Beaulieu, homecoming for the former Laval star, starting at free safety. Big INT for him last week.
On the completion, Sneed did get that 1st down, so back on the ground and 1st down to Travis Tice. And he works it across the 50 for a couple more yards on the ground for Montreal. It will be a 2nd and long coming up. Tice has mentioned a star at South Dakota who made quite an impression in the preseason as well to get a job in this team.
And Tice selling this one to the right as that defense starts to flow, looking for a cutback lane, but the Lions do a decent job sealing things off here with some support. Weak side linebacker Ben Hladek, and that secondary.
Justin Lawrence snap back to MBT. Deep, long, open, no! Charleston Rambo had it, but couldn't hang on. Would have been another big play for that Alouette offense. Instead, we get a 3rd down coming up.
Well, Charleston Rambo out wide here. Got the wide receiver off the line so he can hit this one running. Just got Gary Peters to settle his feet for a hot second there, just enough to gain separation as he makes that move towards the post. Bethel-Thompson throws a strike, but Rambo unable to squeeze it.
2 returners back for the Lions now to receive the punt by the Aussie Joseph Zima, 36, standing at the Montreal 36 to get this one away. First punt for Montreal. Jermaine Jackson taking it back inside the 15, and another Good tackle on special teams. That time it's the rookie out of the University of Calgary, Nick Beauchemin, getting it there. A punt necessitated after Charleston Rambo just could not hang on deep in the Lions zone. Well, fortunately, it wasn't like 2022 when he missed half the season, just missing a couple of games for Nathan Rourke, but very glad to be back. You see the difference in the Lions offense. Let's say hello to Claire Hanna. Claire?
Yeah, Rod, and as you were mentioning, this oblique injury that Nathan Rourke's been dealing with the past 2 weeks isn't the first that sidelined him in his CFL career. He missed 8 games, in fact, back in 2022 when he had that Lisfranc pain on his right foot. He required surgery, but he told me that when you are sidelined, it gives you an opportunity to see things from a different perspective. And these past 2 weeks, he had 2 major takeaways. One, you start to learn you might be taking things for granted when you do feel 100% healthy. And 2, he got to watch veteran Jeremiah Masoli practice and step into a leadership role. And Rourke says moving forward, he hopes that Masoli can continue to speak up, offer that wealth of experience, because he's someone the team can learn a lot from.
All right, Claire, and this is the third possession for BC. And quickly after Stanley Berryhill, who's also just back in the Lions lineup after missing the last game. Those two really clicked in the opener against Edmonton. A couple of touchdown passes from Rourke to Berryhill, but that's incomplete.
And it's so hard as you're trying to run just a high percentage pass, get the ball. It's almost an extension of your run game when you talk about the bubble screens and hitch screens and those sorts of plays. But tough to have a miscue like that leaves you with a 2nd and 10, and the ball in your own territory.
It's where they find themselves now after 22, down 7 points. Under 4 minutes in the first quarter. Deep look and deflected away. Coming in is Wesley Sutton. The coverage on Berryhill. And a good play for the boundary half. The veteran Wesley Sutton to break that one up.
And here you'll see, if you watch at the tail end of this, Berryhill looks like he's just motioning, signaling to Nathan Rourke, if we get that shot again, just try and lead me a little bit further downfield. This one, as it's coming down, you see Wesley Sutton able to come underneath and make a play on that football.
Some good work in the secondary for the Owls so far this game. It was Kevianento with the interception in the end zone to snuff out the Lions' opening drive. Carl Meyer to punt deep in his zone for James Letcher. Chased back inside the 30, down at the 25. Going to the left, and great tackle coming in by Kieran Boisant. Boisant with the tackle, and that could have been a lot worse if he could have got around the edge, but instead, Montreal starting back at their 24. Well, scan the QR promo code on screen to get 35% off Crave monthly plans for your first 3 months and stream the biggest blockbuster movies and hit series you can't stop watching. Crave, proudly Canadian. Rod Smith, Dwayne Ford, Claire Hanna back here on a beautiful night. Molson Stadium and the campus of McGill University for the second home game for the 3-1 Montreal Alouettes. And they have the ball back. McLeod Bethel Thompson with a touchdown pass in their opening series to Tyson Philpott. Faking the handoff, throwing it off to Philpott here. And coming in to make that play is Robert Carter as he gets up around the 30.
Yeah, a little play action here for the Alouettes. They've had that success in the ground game, so they're going to force BC to honor it. Just a little dump off to Philpott, and we've already seen in this game what he can do when given the opportunity to run after making a short catch.
They nearly got him. He looked like he was tripped up a bit on that touchdown, but he got his feet back, and then he took off. Some great speed. The touchdown by Tyson Philpott. 2nd and 4 now. Bethel Thompson stands in, runs out of time. Coming in is Christian Covington.
Let's go, JJ, let's go.
He picks up the sack for the Lions. It's been mentioned many times when you see a Covington with a sack of the quarterback, you can't help think back to his Hall of Fame father, Grover. But first sack of the year for Christian Covington.
Yeah, up top, you look at the single receiver up there. This is what Montreal is trying to set up, a little double move, so this needs time to develop. If you're wondering why Bethel Thompson is holding on to the football. trying to let that deep route develop.
Got some help on that one as well. Zima back at the 10. So 2 and out for the Alouettes. Jackson with it. 40. Katie Davis was the first to get him, and then he got a lot of help. Taken down back inside the 40. James Butler mentioning they didn't get the win in Saskatchewan. Butler did run well, Dwayne.
Yeah, he certainly did. James Butler, after 2 seasons as a Hamilton Tiger Cat, making his return to the West Coast. There you see the numbers: 17 carries, 123 yards, so 7.2 a pop for the veteran back. Looking for him to carry the mail for them and really set the tone as far as the Lions' rushing attack.
He had been a 1,000-yard rusher with BC in 2022, went over, signed on with Hamilton, a couple of years there, and then back he comes, and on that hitch to Berryhill. Turns it up. He's got some room. Stanley Berryhill across midfield, first down to about the 51 of the Alouettes, a gain of 16 for Berryhill.
And here you see Keon Hatcher, not the intended target on this one, but doing a terrific job blocking up Kabianento.
Play action fake. Oh, and Rourke is hit as he tried to get rid of the ball. It looked like his arm was going forward, but they play a live ball anyway, just in case. Saw something similar in week 1 here with Nick Arbuckle. Ended up going for an Alouette touchdown, but there.
It looked like Tyrese Beverette coming from the left side defensively, top of your screen. Just creeping up behind Nathan Rourke as he goes to let this one go.
And they do call it a fumble. BC recovered, but they lose the yardage. They're back in their side of midfield. So now a 2nd and 14 coming up for Rourke and the Lions. Alouettes bringing some heat. More of it coming. He gets rid of it quickly to Butler. Turns it up. James Butler first down. Good pickup after the catch. And with a blitz coming, Rourke knew he had to get rid of it fast, and he did.
And you're going to see secondary blitz. Wesley Sutton coming off the edge. Javon Catoy over to pick that up. But so often you'll see, recognize where the pressure is coming from. You're throwing the ball into that hole that's created. James Butler, the recipient, out in the flat on that one as the area is vacated by the blitzing halfback Sutton.
Only 7 points in the board in the last play of the first quarter, but there has been offense from both of these sides. Opportunities. The BC 2. As Rourke just tucks it in, tries to shuffle it off. He does to McInnes, picks up some blockers. Justin McInnes still on his feet. Trying to dance down to the 15. Rourke made something happen out of that with the heat coming, and a big play BC. The Lions are threatening through the first 15. Down 7, but knocking on the door after a 23-yard gain. Superhero night. The superheroes on the field. 15 minutes in, Tyson Philpott with the touchdown, and the Montreal lead. Back in Montreal, the Alouettes lead 7-0 through one corner. Now, as you look at all these numbers, we also want to consider Nathan Rourke against pressure, against the blitz, and also when he's just been hurried. And so far, we've got a couple of good examples in the last few plays heading into the second quarter by Rourke.
Yeah, and it's not just about the quarterback, but about everybody in that offense being on the same page, whether it's the offensive line recognizing how to block it up. You may not account for everybody, but you need to know who you're going to leave unblocked, and then the receivers need to understand blitz as well, that they're sometimes adjusting their routes, breaking things off, and then there are times where it's not according to plan, and you just got to improvise when the heat comes, as Nathan Rourke and Justin McInnes did on that last big gainer.
For 23 yards, McInnes taking something out of that, taking that little shuffle from Rourke, who's 1 for 2 against the blitz. He's also been picked off on their opening drive, but hurried once, hit 3 times, has not been sacked, and BC is threatening. They have it down to the Montreal 14. Second quarter begins, down by 7. 1st and 10 for Rourke and the Lions. Instructions for McInnes and Eberhardt there with Butler in the backfield. faking to him, rolling to the right, throws it off to Aiden Eberhardt down near the end zone. He is tackled just inside the 2 by Tyrell Richards. And we've got a 1st and goal coming up for BC.
Yeah, Eberhardt motioning across the formation. You know, always creating a little bit of confusion for the defense, maybe losing some bodies, guys who are trying to get out in coverage, having to fight their way through traffic.
Extra lineman Andrew Pearson is in. Short yardage from the Montreal 2. Rourke keeps it. Waiting for a signal. There it is. Touchdown BC Lions. Nathan Rourke with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. And we're a conversion away from a tie game early in the 2nd quarter.
Here early, first possession of the 2nd quarter. It may not seem like a big deal for the BC Lions to be tying this game at opportunity to tie it at 7 with the convert still to come, but I think so important given that you've seen turnovers be a factor for them in the last couple games, and to give up points off turnovers when they were in scoring position on their first possession. The bounce back here on the road, I think, important to the BC Lions' psyche in this ballgame.
Sean White, the veteran. Oh, hand got up on it. Yes, we cannot just can't assume that extra point. Duquois taking it out, so no, it's not a tie game. Byron Archambault all fired out. You see the special teams coach and given 5. So that they got just a piece of that try by Sean White, and that is blocked, and it remains an Alouette lead by a single point. Looked like a tie game. Meyer putting it down, and White, a hand got up, knocked it away. 7-6 Alouettes.
In basketball, you often hear people talk about having some size in the key rim protectors. Here you're looking at someone who protects the goalposts in 6'9" Sean Oakman, getting a big mid up in the middle of that defensive formation to bat down Sean White's extra point attempt. You never know when that point may prove to be a factor in the outcome of the ballgame.
Not the first time the CFL's tallest player has used his height to his advantage. Here's Travis Tice on the return. And a flag does come out. He gets it across the 35. So what looked like a tying touchdown turns out to be a touchdown that got it to within a point when the conversion did not succeed. But that BC offense looked awfully good last time they had the ball.
And the big thing, as always, against Montreal.
During the return, holding. Montreal 11. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Having a plan to handle the pressure, and because the Lions were able to keep that drive alive, making a play against the blitz, against pressure, a big part of that scoring drive.
And you see Byron Archambault talking to the rookie Akeem Harris, who was called in the hold on that return. So the Alouettes will start back at their 15. Still with that 1-point lead. Early 2nd quarter. Bethel Thompson. After the play fake, throws it downfield for Rambo, and a flag comes out. Gary Peters, one of the Lions, right there with him. And Rambo was a little too well covered, as looks like PI coming up here against BC.
Pass interference, BC number 1. Spot of the foul, automatic, first down.
And this is the Montreal Alouettes just taking a shot. Rambo lines up tight to the formation, down the hash mark, breaking to the corner. And Peters just getting wrapped up, as you see, as the two of them are spinning around. He's got his arms outside of the frame of the receiver. Drawing the penalty flag. Nice gain for the Alouettes.
That is a 30-yard gain by penalty for Montreal. And the throw there coming in as Robert Carter on Tyson Philpott. Timed it up perfectly to make sure Philpott had no shot at that. 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Owls.
Yeah, you never really worry about the boundary side corner when you're the BC Lions, knowing you've got the reliable veteran and Gary Peters over there. This field corner spot, Robert Carter Jr. has been a nice addition to the lineup. First-year man out of Robert Morris University.
The Owls at their 45. It's a 2nd and 10 for McLeod. Bethel Thompson dumping it off to Travis Tice, who keeps his feet. And a little hurdle, too. The ball comes out and reaches Sibasu, recovers it right at the first down mark at midfield. Good run after the catch by Tice, but alert play by his teammate Sibasu.
And you can see the Lions defenders licking their chops as they all think they've beaten their blockers, but this is by design as the Alouettes are setting up the screen. Nice execution here. Josh Woods almost coming off the block there to make a play, but Tice keeps his balance.
And you can see, Dwayne, that was punched out before he hit the turf. That was definitely a fumble.
I believe it was Ben Vladek, the linebacker, who forced the fumble, but Alouettes able to recover and conveniently recover just beyond the first down marker.
Right at midfield. The fake to Tice and the dump off there to Tyler Sneed. Everybody's hurdling now. Bethel Thompson last week, we saw just the play before, and now 5'7" Tyler Sneed getting in on the act.
Well, Comic-Con comes to town and everybody thinks they're a superhero and can fly. Sneed was a touch early. You want to get a guy to commit to go low, but Robert Carter kind of got in his stance but didn't commit, didn't leave his feet. So he was able to get a piece of Sneed even when he took to the air.
The leading receiver for the Owls coming in at 17 catches, 270, Tyler Sneed. Little jump in his step. Look at this guy. And tackled there is Travis Tice, just shy of the 40 by Robert Carter. Gain of 7 more yards for Travis Tice and a first down again. The Alouettes on the move.
Travis Tice again. There you see that cutback as the Lions defense all sort of collapsing down to the point of attack. Bounces that one outside.
Second start as an Alouette for McLeod Bethel Thompson. In for Davis Alexander. He's got something going here. Throwing on the right again. Intercepted. Flags come out. Ball came out as well. Looks like it's back in the hands of the Alouettes. A lot to unpack on that play. It is picked by Deontay Williams. There was a penalty called, and he coughed up the ball, and Montreal got it back.
Take a look and see if the flag has any bearing on the outcome of this play.
Illegal contact, BC number 8. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's Jalen Edwards Cooper who got flagged for that.
You'll see Edwards Cooper kind of latches onto his guy. I believe it was Sneed.
So 8 got the penalty, 9 Deontay Williams had the pick, but all for naught. Montreal football anyway. Travis Tice on the carry inside the 30, grinding it down close to the BC 26. Back come the Alouettes in this drive. The first one after BC scored their first points of this game.
The Alouettes getting a reprieve. You know, much of the talk, as we said, from our conversation with Jason Moss this week. As you see offensive coordinator Anthony Calvillo up in the box, but much talk about the need to take care of the football.
Yep.
So maybe getting a little bit of a warning on that almost Deontay Williams interception.
Bethel Thompson runs out of time. He's taken down. Coming in quickly, Kamoko Toure, one of the newcomers on that BC Lions defense. He gets the sack, number 2 in the season for Toure.
But right on the left edge of your screen, See Toure going to work here. Tackle forced to take the inside gap, leaving Toure as the free man. He just redirects to go make a play.
Matthew Betts celebrating with him. Toure, once drafted by the Indianapolis Colts in 2018. Winding up here with BC, and now a 44-yard try coming up here. First field goal try for Jose Maltos, 14 of 15, leading scorer in the CFL so far this season. His longest is 50. Inside that, Maltos to the right. No, ding off the upright to the right. Dead ball. They blow it dead. Jermaine Jackson having it in his hands. Maltos, just his second miss of the season. That one from 44. Just right. The score stays the same, 7-6 Alouettes. For more than 20 years, along with the CFL and its member clubs, the Purolator Tackle Hunger program has delivered over 25 million pounds of food to families in need. Go to purolatortacklehunger.ca to donate, and it starts tomorrow in Edmonton with the Red Blacks and the Elks. So the field goal attempt goes wide for Montreal. No harm done now for the BC Lions. Stanley Berryhill has it. KB Ento and Deontay Ruffin in there on the tackle after a good pickup on first down for Berryhill, 8 yards.
We've seen Berryhill a couple of times targeted on these short passes and screens, trying to let the speedster go to work after the catch. Again, opportunity against this Montreal defense where you don't have to sort out a lot in terms of what's happening up front. You just get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly. Count on your playmakers to make plays for you.
Second down and 2, James Butler. Well, he had to get to the 40, and he's just shy of that. We got a third and short coming up here for BC. And a decision for Buck Pierce in his zone. Nathan Rourke staying out. They don't need much.
And you'll get a look at Nathan Rourke following through on that sprint out action. Afterwards, no doubt, spotters up in the booth keeping an eye to see, as Montreal accounting for Rourke, not accounting for Rourke, as the opportunity for him to pull that ball is there, and maybe an adjustment they make. Keep that defense honest.
Third down. Nathan Rourke, short yardage pushes. Had a short yardage touchdown from the 2 earlier in the quarter. He has that first down. The sticks will move. We're halfway through the second quarter, past the halfway mark. A 7-6 ball game. As mentioned, though, both offenses have certainly shown the ability to move the football.
There you see, nice surge from the BC Lions front. Nice job by Rourke kind of finding the soft spot to get through there, pick up the needed yardage.
By the way, and that's just short yardage, but Nathan Rourke just behind Butler, the second leading rusher on the BC Lions, despite the games missed. And he has 3 carries, 16 yards rushing, more than Butler does so far in this game. Play action fake. Throwing, and coming up to get it is Keon Hatcher with a brilliant catch in a crowd, and a first down for BC near the Alouettes 50.
Well, one receiver, but you can see at the bottom of the screen, BC Lions go with 6 big bodies, 6 O-linemen, and Javon Katoy in there as a tight end, a max protect type situation to try and allow that sort of intermediate to deep pass time to set up, just committing to getting things blocked up at the line of scrimmage and giving Nathan Rourke a chance.
His first catch, he was denied in the end zone earlier. It goes to Berryhill. First down and more. Lions now moving the football quickly down the field. They get it to the Montreal 35 after 15 more yards, courtesy Rourke to Berryhill.
And the BC Lions looking like they're settling into a bit of a groove offensively. And I know fans were looking for an instant fireworks with this BC offense with Nathan Rourke present from the start of the season. Buck Pierce, former Winnipeg Blue Bombers offensive coordinator, coming over. But, you know, it will be a process as Rourke gets used to the offense, but looking like he's certainly making some progress.
Settling down, 9 for 13, the ball carrier. is Xander Horvath, newcomer to the Lions in 2025, and he picks up a few more yards, set up a second and long still around the 32 of the Alouettes.
Yeah, Horvath in there, Purdue University product, 6'3", about 230, 235 pounds. A fullback body type, and he fills some of that role for the Lions. But as you can see, also doing his part, carrying the rock, spelling James Butler a little bit.
Butler back in on a 2nd and 6. Complete. Eberhardt again. His second catch. Sutton and Ruffin ride him out, but it's another first down for the BC Lions. Second straight possession, working the ball down impressively, a gain of 15 more.
Yeah, Eberhardt coming out of the slot. Just a quick out, gets his head around, ball's out of Rourke's hands on time.
They work tempo. Rourke, the fake, the throw, and the catch. Again, Eberhardt. And near another first down for BC. They're working quickly.
And love the job that Nathan Rourke does here, getting his shoulders squared as he's in that full sprint towards the sidelines, but recognizes he's got a receiver coming open, and just on the run manages to kind of spin the shoulders 90 degrees to fire that ball downfield.
Product of Wyoming, Aiden Eberhardt's found a more prominent role in this BC Lions offense. And Rourke settling down, first and goal now at the Montreal 7. Butler can't break the tackle of Najee Murray coming in. Had him tied up enough until he got some help to limit any gain. Second and goal coming up here for the BC Lions.
Yeah, you gotta love Najee Murray, the veteran number 12. He's to the left side of your screen, just left of the upright. Longest serving member of this Montreal Alouettes defense. He's seen some highs and lows here in Montreal. Sure enjoying this particular era as an Alouette.
We got a second and goal coming up from the Alouette 6. They have issued the 3-minute warning until halftime. BC's close again.
Got chirped a lot for saying Paul LaPolice's superhero was stats. So what do you got instead there, big guy?
Captain Canuck.
Are you looking at
Captain
ideas?
Canuck.
The
Captain
best you can come up with.
Halftime is coming up. We'll talk about the first half.
the
Plus, we'll look
Americans
back
in
at that
flag
big game in Toronto last night.
I like it, go.
Looking forward to it, Laura. Right now we got a second and goal from the 6 for Nathan Rourke. Flag comes out as he rolls left to look into the end zone. He's got a BC touchdown. There is a flag out, however, in the Lions' backfield.
BC number 69. 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat, second down.
But it is coming back. Rourke got into the end zone, but they'll be pushed back 10 yards on the hold.
Yeah, and you're going to see this one. Just tough situation for Jarrell Broxton because your back is to the football, so he doesn't know where his quarterback goes. He's protecting a pocket inside. When Rourke spins outside, the defender can see it, tries to fight it. There, Broxton doesn't know where he is. Just ends up getting caught holding on.
So it goes back to the Montreal 16. It is still second and goal. The Lions threatening to take the lead for the first time in this game. Last time they got down this close, Rourke ended up carrying it in for a touchdown. They missed the extra point, trailing by 1. Rourke with time, and underneath, no, incomplete, intended there for Hatcher, but the Alouettes had that well covered. Tyrese Beverette is there, and the field goal unit will come on for BC to see if they can move up by a couple of points.
And no doubt the Lions will feel like they've left some points out there on this one, as you saw that tough penalty call against Broxton takes a touchdown off the board. Tyrese Beverette shutting things down on the pass attempt that time.
Kyle Nelson, the long snapper, Carl Meyer, the punter, and also the holder here for Sean White. Last on, a few minutes ago, had an extra point attempt blocked. This from 24 yards for the BC lead. White puts it through. And the Lions, back-to-back drives, have picked up 9 points to move in front with 2:37 on the clock. Till halftime here in Montreal. Comic-Con night. Superhero night. Jazz Fest as well. Lapo would love it. We'll be hearing from him soon, too. And Enoch and Laura.
Moments ago, you saw Kyle Nelson, the BC Lions long snapper. Not a long-time CFL veteran, but a long-time pro football veteran. This guy spent a decade in the National Football League before coming north to his roots. And you may recognize his dad if you're a CFL fan, former CFL player, CFL coach for 17 seasons. Dad Mark has been a defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator in this league. Today he just gets to be a fan, but he was still here like 2 hours before the game. Had a little visit with Kyle. Mark doing some coaching at St. Mary's University in Halifax now, but enjoying his summer.
A football lifer, and that the characters, the long flowing hair, and always had that around his years in the CFL. Even coached for a time here in Montreal. Started as a player with the Stampeders back in the early 80s, and proud to watch his son Kyle, long snapper of the BC Lions. After the Thomas Erlington carry, it was 2nd down and 9. Now a flag comes out in that throw by McLeod Bethel Thompson, who was reacting like the flag's going against BC.
Pass interference, BC number 8. Point of the foul, automatic, first down.
Jalen Edwards Cooper, the one that's penalized, and that takes it all the way up to the Montreal 54.
And you'll see the halfback Edwards Cooper. Just got caught on the double move. Little out fake and break. North had to save himself.
Back to Thomas Erlington on the first down across midfield, working it down. See the penalty yardage, 83 yards already against BC. Couple of big ones, and we're not even at halftime. 2:09 to go.
Yeah, Montreal has, over the last couple of years, established themselves as one of the top teams in the Canadian Football League. You don't want to give them too many freebies.
Saw Buck Pierce before, and then our friend Mike Benavides as well, the defensive coordinator. BC, a former head coach with the Lions as well. Back from 12 to 14. Benny's been back with the Lions a couple of years now. Special teams and defense, 2nd and 5. Bethel Thompson throwing again. It's caught by Cole Speaker. One of the unsung heroes of that Alouette offense always as he gets it down after a gain of 16 to about the 35-yard line of BC.
Yeah, and you'll see the Alouettes on this would end up with a couple of receivers in close proximity. Charleston Rambo in behind. So receiver and backup receiver making sure they make the catch.
It was a sure catch for Rambo till Speaker took it away. 1st and 10 now. Off to Thomas Erlington. Mike Awe wraps him out of bounds. Another good pickup, though, and 1st down. 8 more yards. Sean Thomas Erlington having a good half.
Yeah, good body control here from Sean Thomas Erlington. On his way out to the flat here as he's got to do a little outside pivot to get a hand on that one.
He had 2 good carries on that 3-play drive to open things up for the Alouettes. Ultimately the touchdown to Tyson Philpott. And the receiving end there, and now back to running, and a couple of yards down to about the 25 and a 2nd and 2, and about all he would need. See where they spot the football. If the knee went down beforehand, but very close. Looking like a 3rd down with Caleb Evans coming on. Bethel Thompson heading off. Evans in his 3rd year with the Alouettes after starting his CFL career with Ottawa. And used in short yardage on this 3rd and 1. Needed to get to the 25, and looks like he has that and then some. 1:05 in the clock, and the Alouettes are going to have a chance to retake the lead.
And Caleb Evans has really embraced and excelled in this role as the Alouettes' short yardage quarterback. You know, with the rise of Davis Alexander over the last couple of years, not as many opportunities for him coming in as the number 2 guy, really more of a number 3, but still very much having an important role on this team and executing at a high rate.
So Bethel Thompson's back on, and look at that guy. Like a kid out there. He is a young man, Davis Alexander. Injured hamstring again. Can't play, but enjoying what he sees right now. Bethel Thompson checks it down. Wanted the fullback, David Dallaire, but that falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up. 40 seconds on the clock.
And really nowhere to go for Dallaire had he been able to hold on to that one, as Deontay Williams essentially had him wrapped up.
Would have been lost yardage had he hung on to the football. 2nd and 10. Bethel Thompson, 7 for 10 for 103 and a touchdown pass to Tyson Philpott. Throwing again. Flags out. Alouette receiver is down. And Robert Carter is not happy. Looks like another PI, another penalty going against BC to sustain this Montreal drive with 35
Illegal
seconds.
contact, BC number 26. That 10-yard penalty will result in a first down.
And you'll get a look at the interaction between Tyson Philpott and Robert Carter. Hands around the waist as he kind of spun the receiver to the turf.
To make that 93 yards of penalties incurred by the BC Lions in this first half alone. Philpott and Speaker out to the left. BC 14, 1st and 10. Bethel Thompson. Empty backfield. Looking to the right. Touchdown! Touchdown, Sean Thomas Earlington. And the Alouettes have their lead back as halftime approaches.
And this Sean Thomas Earlington demonstrating his versatility. The Alouettes are going to empty out the backfield, going 6 receivers without changing personnel. Sean Thomas Earlington lines up in the slot. Here's the middle slot to the right side. Beating the defender. You know, there's Quebec University football rivalries. That was Sean Thomas Earlington, former Montreal Carabin, against the former Laval DB, Christophe Beaulieu. The Carabins win this one.
Advantage Montreal in more ways than one on that play. 10 plays, 70 yards in just over 2 minutes, and an impressive response by the Alouettes after BC had driven down to get the field goal to take their first lead of the game. He's enjoying his time back home in Montreal after starting his career with Hamilton and picking up this touchdown.
Yeah, and you'll see Sean Thomas Earlington, the inside receiver here, but on the release, he's going to become the middleman. Tyler Sneed goes to the inside, gets a good outside release there, and looked like just a communication issue on the back end for Montreal as they're trying to sort out those 3 receivers and changing release lanes.
No one loves him more than Davis Alexander, except perhaps Jason Moss. To see Alouettes go ahead on the 2nd touchdown of the season for Sean Thomas Earlington. He had 1 rushing, that 1 receiving. 30 seconds on the clock. Another lead change. Maltos to kick it off from the Montreal 30. Jermaine Jackson at the 10. The clock ticking. Goes to the left. Finds a bit of a seam to get it across the 35. 23 seconds. Now a penalty flag is out right at the end on the tackle on Jackson.
We have a misconduct foul, 15 yards on BC 25. Get a first down.
It's Adam Auclair who is flagged on that special teams play, and penalties just killing BC right now. They'll have to start much further back at around their 22.
Yeah, watch 25 Eau Claire, bottom left corner of your screen. Dumping Marc-Antoine Dequoy on that one. That's that Laval-Montreal rivalry coming back again.
There you go, but Buck Pierce going to have to clean that up. Over 100 yards now, 108 in penalties. Late in this half, and it's Butler with the ball. But a big difference in that department. And this is a BC offense that has been able to move the football, and quickly too, but running out of time here until halftime, just 15 seconds ago, and they're still pretty deep in their own zone.
Yeah, discipline will no doubt be a big topic of conversation in the BC Lions locker room at halftime. You know, they've done a lot of good things here in the first half against a challenging opponent on the road. A 3-hour time change for the BC Lions coming to Montreal to play, but a lot of self-inflicted wounds along the way.
8 penalties, 108 yards. To Montreal, 3 penalties and 25. One of the stats really weighing heavily is Nathan Rourke took a knee. And we are at halftime. A little conversation there for McLeod, Bethel Thompson talking to Jason Moss. But a lot of players you could point out, including Sean Thomas Erlington, Dwayne.
Yeah, Sean Thomas Erlington having a resurgent year here in his second with the Alouettes. Leading man in terms of their ground attack. Terrific receiver out of the backfield. After scoring a touchdown, he is on the sidelines with our Claire Hanna.
Well, Sean, a big reason you guys are up in this game is because of your second touchdown of the year. Tell me what's working well with your offense today.
I think we're just rolling. We're just playing one play at a time and executing well and taking a good opportunity off of those penalties also.
Now, compared to last week, your head coach Jason Moss said he wants to get your run game going. Well, you've definitely established that. What's going well there?
I mean, it all starts with old linemen. They're putting out great blocks. Even the fullbacks, everybody's putting in their work, even the receivers. So even you can see on my first, second run, just like the guys are blocking their A's off.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Sean Thomas Erlington keeping it clean here. Laura, let's send it over to you.
Yeah, the Montreal Alouettes happy to be back home. That 3-game road trip, a thing of the past. And they've had their moments here on offense as you're back at halftime here. Paul LaPolice, Enoch Mwamba, and myself, Laura Dykin. So let's start with those Montreal Alouettes. And yeah, just put up 17 points last week in that loss to Hamilton, 38 rushing yards, but looking like a different team right off the hop. They were able to take advantage of that BC turnover.
They definitely were.
You're on the move.
I gotta go. So Sean Thomas Erlington is talking about the offensive line benefiting him, but it was really Kevin Anto who started this ride. I'm talking about the first drive for the Montreal Alouettes. They did an amazing job. Set up by Kevin Anto, then Sean Thomas Erlington gets the ball. 15-yard run, and coach, you've been talking about it all week. Big plays are up 44%. He does his impersonation of Houdini. I don't know if he's a superhero, but he does. Gets now 20 yards, which is a big play, and sets up this play right here. Gets the ball, and then you see it's Philpott that gets the ball, and he scores a touchdown. But this is the reason why. This is the chess game. You see here, 2 big runs. Now, the Montreal Alouettes, if you're BC, you're expecting another run. Boom, you see the lineman going this way. You see the guard pulling. You see Sean Thomas Erlington pulling to the right as well. Is it a run? No. Tyson Philpott gets the ball. He keeps going. You heard Dwayne Ford talking about quicker 6. He's faster than his dad. But the biggest reason is the chess game that was happening between the game. It was AC Anthony Calvillo who called a great plays right there and opened it up. There were no linebackers to tackle Philpott, and that's how he was able to score the touchdown.
Houdini, now a superhero.
I guess he is.
Yeah, I guess it's fine. I'm not going to argue with that.
He just disappeared.
Sure. Tyson Philpott, we should mention as well, scored 3 touchdowns, all in odd-numbered weeks. 1, 3, 5. Take a note of that. Yep, there we go, Mr. Stats Man. On the other side of things, of course, we've been paying special attention to Nathan Rourke back after missing those 2 games with the oblique injury. Again, they're not lighting up the scoreboard when it comes to the points here, but both these teams have had their moments. What did you think of the first half there for Rourke?
Well, I thought early on they struggled with some of the deeper throws in their playbook. They threw an interception, or it was just a little bit underthrown. It could have been a touchdown if they put the ball out there. But there was a couple of deeper throws downfield that the Montreal Alouettes got their hands on, and I like what Buck Pierce did later in the game. Started moving the launch point a little bit more. You see Justin McInnis get this great off-schedule play. Great play by Nathan Rourke here. But you saw the screen passes come out. You saw quick game throws, which means the ball is out of the quarterback's hands. All these plays, the quarterback doesn't have to make much of a decision. They're easy decisions. Here's a big play action down the field just to create opportunities. I think they're starting to confuse Montreal and show a bunch of different things. Now, they've got a field goal miss. They also have a penalty that took a touchdown off the board. So the red zone woes for this team continue. I talked about at the top of the show, they're the worst scoring touchdowns, so they got to clean that up. But I thought that was a good half and especially great second quarter.
Yeah, we heard Rod mentioning 8 penalties there for the BC Lions. The Lions have had the Montreal Alouettes number as of late, winning the last 4 head-to-head meetings, including 3 of 4 in Montreal. But it is the hometown Alouettes with the lead, 14-9 at halftime.
United we stand, the challenge is long. In the rhythm of victory we find our song. It's a hard road alone, but together we're strong. A team force and higher where we all belong. United we stand, together we're strong. It's a hard road alone. A team force and fire where we all belong.
One more game to go in week number 5, and the Elks sure hoping this is the week they finally get their first win. Reinforcements on the way for the Red Blacks as well. Quarterback Drew Brown will be back. A hip injury has kept him out the last 3 games. Our coverage kicks off tomorrow at 7 Eastern, 5 Mountain Time.
Mix things up here. They get Janarian Grant. A little reverse on the return down the sideline. Get a block. Grant's back in the end zone at 25. Wooden catches it at the 24. Has a little breathing room. Gets to the outside. Has the angle. Does he have the speed to beat everybody? No flags down. Shot for shot. The Ticats and Argos go back and forth.
Roy Leister of New Westminster, BC. You have just won $1 million.
Coming over.
Congratulations, Roy!
What a show it was last night at BMO Field. The teams combining for 89 points, 12 touchdowns. But yes, New Westminster's own Roy Leister, a night he will never forget.
Yeah, and for us on the panel, never forget, because every week we always go through this scenario. We have to stop talking right before the game. We're all talking, all of a sudden, quiet down. We're going to do the Promotivate. We talk about who's going to get it. And every once in a while, there's a return touchdown. And we're like, oh, we got one more to go. But it usually never happens. To see it last night happen, to actually see our whole operation of calling it Enoch, like Kate had to go back and mention it and talk about the millionaire winner. It was awesome.
It was hard for us to believe it, and we didn't even win the money. But honestly, congratulations to Roy, because it's something that never really. That's what
they said. This was the 20th time. Apparently, was the charm. It just took 20
times, but. I know both coordinators, special teams coordinators, were losing their minds when they gave up the touchdown and celebrating with Roy when they scored the touchdown. So my new best friend, Roy, fix your social media. I tried to look you up. I couldn't find you, but get at me.
So here, instead of talking about Bo Levi Mitchell and Kenny Lawler, we're talking about our boy Roy.
Yeah, and Dennis McKnight, Mickey Donovan, special teams coordinators. Are they going to get a little? Is Roy going to take them out to dinner when they're in BC?
Yeah.
Come on, Roy. Let's
Come through me, though. Come through me, Roy. Talk to me, and I'll get you in touch with the guys.
Roy, we hope you're enjoying your 15 minutes of fame, and we've got a special message for you here from all of us at TSN.
Hey, yo, Roy, man, Isaiah Wooden Sr. here. Hey, want to congratulate you on winning $1 million, bro. Hey, I'm glad that I was the one to do it for you. And, hey, if you need somebody to hold something, I'm your guy. Nah, but real talk, man, congratulations once again. Have a great day today, man, and keep going.
There you go.
Nice.
Man. Must be Roy on the knee, right?
Or it's Houdini, who knows?
Great game. This is a hell of a game.
14-9. The Montreal Alouettes looking to get back to their winning ways on their home turf, while the Lions staring down that 3-game losing skid.
Halftime in Montreal, the Lions trail by 5. They actually have more net yards than the Alouettes do, but penalties really hurting them. Good connection there from Nathan Rourke to Justin McInnis to help set up BC's touchdown. McInnis standing by with Claire.
Justin, there was this play in the first half. It was a shovel pass to you. Nathan Rourke's back. That led to a touchdown. What's it like having Nathan Rourke back with you guys?
Yeah, Nate's just a magician out there. Great at improvising, great at escaping the pocket. You know, he made a play. I just got to be there for him.
You guys are only down by 5 points. You're a local kid who grew up in this area. What's your approach to the second half?
Yeah, just play mistake-free football. We had a lot of penalties in the first half that hurt us. Going out, that's what we're focused on. We're moving the ball up and down the field, so we just got to, continue to emphasize playing clean football and let the victory take care of itself in the end.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
As for Nathan Rourke, Claire, 11 for 16 and 180 yards. The one interception, Dwayne, right at the end of their first drive to snuff it out, the interception was by Kabianento.
Yeah, and I think when you're the BC Lions looking at the first half of this football game, positives and negatives, I think a lot of positives that you look at in terms of ability to move the football, put yourselves in scoring position. But, I know as Lapo touched on those trips into I'm going to call it the green zone because you want to go when you're on offense. But coming out of those with no points, be it a turnover, blocked field goal attempt, whatever the case may be. And then obviously the other side, the penalties. That when you're BC, you're hurting yourself more than Montreal's hurting you so far in this football game. And if you can get that figured out against a real good Montreal football team, you give yourselves a good chance.
The Alouettes will get the ball to start the second half, going with a bit of a breeze. They're back on a beautiful night in Montreal. Alouettes lead, but by less than a touchdown. And to start with Fletcher getting it up over the 40 now. We'll see how things might change for the BC Lions. McLeod Bethel Thompson, very efficient, 8 for 11, just 117 yards passing, Dwayne, but a couple of those passes went for touchdowns.
Yeah, and I'm sure McLeod Bethel Thompson, after a couple of turnovers against the Hamilton Tiger Cats in that week 4 loss, fumble in the end zone that went for a touchdown, pick 6 against. Well aware of that need to take care of the football, and I think that's been evident in his decision-making and in some of the play calling as well.
Sean Thomas Erlington, very productive first half on the ground and in the air, as it turns out, and has a carry there to open things up in the second half, and a good pickup, 9 yards, Montreal across their 50.
Yeah, picking up where they left off. Enoch talked a little at halftime about this Montreal run game, the work of their offensive line, the play calling, using the success of that ground game to set up some other things for them.
So Caleb Evans comes in, and this on a second down and short after that carry by Sean Thomas Erlington, who's up to 51 yards rushing now on 6 carries, a far cry from the way things went against the Ticats last week in Hamilton. Evans has the first down. A little bit closer as they inch to midfield. The Alouettes' first game in this stadium in a month. They opened up the season against the Toronto Argonauts, won that game 28-10. And then went on the road for 3, winning in Ottawa and Edmonton before losing last week in Hamilton. But they're in first in the East, regardless of tonight, with a record of 3-1 coming in.
And McLeod Bethel Thompson, as mentioned, a very efficient first half. I think looking a little more comfortable at the wheel of this Montreal Alouettes offense, just with the opportunity to have more reps.
Thomas Erlington again tripped up. And he got tied up there by new defensive tackle Tomasi Lalile, slowing him down until he got some help. It's a loss of 3 yards for Sean Thomas Erlington.
Dwayne Hendricks and Jonah Tavai, 2 starting defensive tackles for BC, find themselves on the injured list this week. So they needed someone to step up on the inside. Lalile getting his opportunity. There you saw him making the most of it.
Right up at the 50 and a 2nd and 13 for Bethel Thompson. And a 3-man rush. Deep toss, open receiver too. He had Sneed in behind coverage with Beaulieu coming across. But yeah, MBT thinks of what might have been on that play with Sneed streaking away, but just a bit too far.
And you're going to see Sneed coming out of the slot. Little fake to the outside and then turns it vertical. There you just saw defender on the outside overcommitting. think Beaulieu was well positioned to get over there and try and make a play on that ball. Fortunately, safety playing deep for BC in that instance.
Joseph Zima to punt it away inside his 40. Jermaine Jackson is back for it. And he takes it in the air at the 10. Tries to go to the left. Can't find the edge there. He turns it back. Nowhere to go. Good coverage again by the punt cover of the Montreal Alouettes. Second half underway. Close to another big play. Close. No. Still 14-9 Alouettes.
Nathan Rourke making his return to the BC Lions lineup here tonight. Some ups and downs in the first half. Driving had one picked off by KB and Ento to snuff out a drive, but settled in, made some big plays, little creativity along the way. A half that included rushing for BC's only touchdown of the half. Lots to build on there for the BC Lions.
And has done well under pressure, especially late in the first quarter in their first scoring drive. Gets that one away for Berryhill, a little bit high, but it goes incomplete. Rourke had been hurried twice, hit 3 times, not sacked. And as I said, has got some productivity here, but he's trying to put it all together.
And a little ad lib on this one. He's looking to throw to the left, didn't like what he saw, so pulls it down and tries to improvise getting that one to Berryhill, but just off the mark.
Started the game at 2 for 6 for 44 yards and a pick. Since then, 9 for 11 and 136 yards. Nathan Rourke settling down as that first half went on. Here to start the second half. BC trailing 14-9 with the ball on a 2nd down and 10. Rourke has time. He looks off to his right to Aiden Eberhardt. Another catch by Eberhardt, who keeps his feet. And Ento has the tail of his jersey, but Eberhardt's able to get a first down for the Lions, and a big one at that, and a gain of 16.
And I know that there were a lot of questions being asked about the BC Lions receiving corps going into training camp this year, and one of the big things they needed was for some of the younger veterans like Eberhardt and Berryhill to step up, and they're showing they have.
Rourke's not afraid to run. A flag comes out and a good carry further down in the secondary, but he has enough to pick up another first down across the Lions 40. We'll wait to see what this flag's about. Gain of 17 yards.
Too many players. Montreal. That penalty be declined. Result of the play is a first down.
After the running of Nathan Rourke. So against the Alouettes up across the 45, 46-yard line. More success on the ground for Nathan Rourke.
And this is kind of an underrated part of Nathan Rourke's game. We know he can escape in the pocket, maneuver around, manage the rush a little bit in that regard, but just his flat-out ability as a running quarterback, using that as a weapon.
32 yards rushing so far, and he lets James Butler deliver the mail here as he gets it up across 50, approaching midfield. So they run it again, and a good carry by Butler, 7 more yards. Top 2 runners on the BC Lions. You expect that certainly from Butler. Rourke in 2 games at over 100 yards coming into this one. As mentioned, has 32 in the ground to Butler's 21.
Canadian game, that mobility from your quarterback is such a valuable asset to have. The number of times per game you're passing, this width of the field, etc. Forcing the defense to defend that threat.
Back to Butler. 2nd and short. Has the first down across midfield. He keeps his feet, and he gets it down to the Montreal 50 now. The Sticks move again. Lions to start the second half on the move, trailing by 5.
Yeah, I love the balance here from James Butler. Nice execution on the scheme. O-line blocking down. They get a kick-out block there. Allows Butler to knife north-south. Saw Wesley Sutton with the big hit. Butler able to keep his feet. Keep it churning for a couple more yards.
To the Alouette 50. Rourke to Butler. Left side. Keeps those legs chugging and works his way down to another 2nd and short coming up. He gets it well inside the 45. 7 more yards on the ground for James Butler.
James Butler, not the tallest guy, low center of gravity, powerfully built. Good downhill runner. You see it there.
The lights are on. The night sky getting dimmer here on this nice July evening, a Saturday night in Montreal. Second half, 2nd and 3. Montreal 43. Butler, no. Alouettes was the first one in, and Butler gets swarmed and pushed back for a loss. Corey Roberson in on that play as well for the Alouettes.
And you get a look at Roberson, who receiving an opportunity in this Alouette lineup with the injury to veteran Dylan Wynn. He's taken over some of those reps at defensive tackle, but Alouettes, Edmonton native, with the initial contact.
And against this breeze, the Lions won't try the field goal. Carl Meyer is in to punt it away from midfield. Looking for field position here. Lands beautifully done inside the 5. Right at the 2. Beautiful punt. That's what they wanted from Meyer instead of trying a long field goal. So a long field instead for the Alouettes, hanging on to a 5-point lead in Montreal. I remember all the great hurdlers. Mark McCoy, Edwin Moses. Who else do you have?
Well, you know, Ronaldo Nehemiah took it to the football field, but I don't know if he did it any better than McLeod Bethel Thompson last week, and the recently turned 37-year-old quarterback, maybe inspiring some of his younger teammates. We see Travis Tice, Tyler Snead going airborne here.
MBT getting it started last week in Hamilton, and he's starting deep. Tice is his running back too. Throws it out to Snead. Hurdler to Hurdler, and a pickup to about the 7, so a little bit of breathing room, but still big second down coming up here for the Alouettes.
Well, I think just as big a second down coming up for the BC Lions defense. We talked about the strategy, not attempting the long field goal, but instead, given the time of game, the situation, playing for the field position. They get the perfect punt from Carl Meyer. Now it's up to the defense to help turn the field.
2nd down and 5. Bethel Thompson standing in his end zone, throwing out of it, completing to Cole Speaker. Good yardage after the catch. Speaker up around the 39. Lots of breathing room for the Alouettes now.
Yeah, this is a big throw from MBT. And Cole Speaker, the Alouettes' leading receiver a year ago, comes up with the big play. Nice escape move back to the inside there, and then getting it up the field. Not just a big first down, but a big gain as they're out to their own 38-yard line now.
And Bethel Thompson's 10 of 14 for 153. And Cole Speaker, a couple of catches for 47. That was a big one, though. 31 yards. Play action pass. Lots of time. Bethel Thompson. And too far for Tyler Snead, the leading receiver for the Alouettes, coming in. And looks like they're asking for a flag. They got a few of those that worked out well for them in the first half. The Lions had taken a lot of penalties. No flags there.
Yeah, Snead ran into a little bit of traffic on that route as he kind of released through the middle
Montreal
before working towards the corner.
Defensive pass interference on their receiver, number 85. The replay center will look at it.
Well, I spoke too soon when I said no flags, because there's a challenge flag issued by Jason Moss, who agrees with his quarterback and his leading receiver, Tyler Snead. So the replay center is going to have a look at this. McLeod Bethel Thompson on that play action pass, looking for Tyler Snead. I think there was some PI there. They're going to decide coming up.
And watch for the intended receiver here. Tyler Snead is going to sort of work through the middle and then try to get to the corner. Jalen Edwards Cooper sitting at the 50-yard line. On the break, just makes a little bit of contact that knocks the receiver off stride.
After review by the replay center, we have pass interference, BC number 8. Spot of the foul, automatic first down.
Well, that time the penalty took a challenge, but nonetheless for the Lions, it continues here in the second half. Jalen Edwards-Cooper ultimately takes that penalty and add on to that penalty yardage for BC that's really hurt them in this game. First down near midfield. Travis Tice trying to bull his way there. He gets up across the 53. He's the ball carrier, and a second down coming up for Bethel Thompson and the Owls. A gain of 3 for Travis Tice.
Tough sledding on the inside there for Tice. Guy who made an immediate impact after arriving at Owls training camp. We're not, obviously not a ton of opportunity to get looks on short notice, but newcomer helping bump veteran Walter Fletcher from the spot.
2nd and 7 now. Bethel Thompson tries to step up, nowhere to go. MBT's running again. Don't see this a lot. No hurdle that time, just straight contact. As a helmet comes off as well, belonging to a BC Lion. Bethel Thompson slowly gets up, shakes things off, and it's a little banged up there after an 8-yard pickup.
Yeah, but the vet showing he's still got something in those well-experienced legs. Pretty good collision at the end of this play, but he manages to shake it off.
Did he look for a moment like he was thinking about a hurdle? When the way he was bracing there, Deontay Williams' hat comes off, and yeah, Bethel Thompson did take a pop there. And bear in mind, Davis Alexander, the number 1 QB out, so Caleb Evans warming up, number 3 now. He was number 2 in the depth early last year in behind Cody Fajardo, and got some starts after Fajardo got hurt, and ultimately Davis Alexander took over before Fajardo came back. So Bethel Thompson off under his own steam. Doesn't run a lot. Not afraid to. It's his first carry of the night for 8 yards. Gets the first down as well. The numbers for Caleb Evans and his career profile. Some of this with the Ottawa Redblacks. Back with Paul LaPolice in Ottawa, when because of QB injuries thrown into the fire there, and a couple of years with the Redblacks, went on to Montreal, taking off now. He's used to running short yardage QB, and he picks up good yardage there. Caleb Evans does on his first play from scrimmage on this night, a pickup of 12.
Yeah, it's something of a luxury for the Montreal Alouettes to have the experience that they do at the quarterback position. Saw Caleb Evans 6-10 record rather as a starter. It has been pretty successful when pressed into duty here with the Montreal Alouettes.
He gets it inside the BC 40. Third quarter, under 5 minutes to play in the third. Still just a 5-point difference. The Alouettes lead. Pressing now with Evans in at quarterback. Rolling to his left. Nearly completed, but no. Beaulieu coming back home hits Charleston Rambo just as the ball arrived, and a fired up Christophe Beaulieu back in Montreal with a big play there for BC.
Yeah, second-year man Beaulieu coming up with a big play here. Evans looking for something to open up, tries to throw it into a tight window there to Rambo near the sidelines. Beaulieu, one of the top defensive backs in the 2024 CFL draft class.
An All-Canadian out of Laval, winning the Vanier Cup in 2022, and brother Jordan inspired him, 6 years older, and played in the CFL as well. His second year now. Christophe. Well, here's Tice taking that pass. Keeps his feet, heading down, but has still kept going. Great effort. We've seen this a lot from the rookie number 30 as he allows that second effort to get a Montreal first down as Bethel Thompson is coming back on.
Tice lining up in the backfield, free release. Got that bubble screen with the receivers, Sibasu, Speaker, Philpott, all out there blocking. Travis Tice going to work. And there you see his backfield partner in crime, Sean Thomas Erlington, urging him on.
Whether running or catching short passes, Alouette running backs acquitting themselves pretty nicely tonight. Tice the latest there. Takes the fake, the throw, Tyson Philpott. And coming back inside, Ben Hladek in on the tackle for BC, but the Alouettes are sustaining a nice drive right now and taking a lot of time off the clock in the process.
And can we give some credit to Caleb Evans? Technically the Owls' number 3 quarterback, the backup with Davis Alexander. Already out of the lineup, coming in the middle of the drive and just keeping things going.
Nice run by Evans to get it started. Completed a pass as well. 2nd and 4. Bethel Thompson back in this drive. Travis Tice. Ball comes out on that exchange. Little confusion between Bethel Thompson and Tice, and lucky break for the Alouettes that it didn't cost them a turnover. Still Montreal football, but now 3rd down and a field goal try coming up.
Yeah, initial glance at this play, I wondered if they were looking run fake to Tice and possibly a shovel pass to Sean Thomas Erlington, who you'll see coming back behind the line of scrimmage here. And they got that defensive end to bite upfield, which would have opened up the shovel. But ball popped free, snuffing out that offensive opportunity.
Jose Maltos is 0 for 1. This one coming just inside the 30. And he does put that one through. Heading off left. And Maltos 1 for 2 in the night. 3 more points. Big ones too at this stage of the game for the Montreal Alouettes. Still a 1-score game, but an 8-point Montreal lead. Good drive down the field to get something to show for it. We were talking about Christophe Beaulieu coming home to Montreal tonight. Got his first CFL interception here in his 2nd year a couple of weeks ago against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Let's send it back to Claire.
Yeah, and Rod, Christophe Beaulieu has had so many pinch me moments in the last couple of weeks. You mentioned his first interception 2 weeks ago. Earlier this season, he became a starter with the BC Lions for the first time in his career. And as a kid who grew up in Quebec, went to Laval, he idolized and looked up to Matthew Betts. Well, now he gets to call him a teammate and even a mentor. Well, here's the thing. Beaulieu told me that this week has been huge, a full circle moment for him playing pro in Montreal as a starter, because coming to watch the Alouettes, that's something he did 2 to 3 times a year with his dad, idolizing guys like Chip Cox, Avon Coburn. Now he's one of the guys on the field making plays, and he might be feeling some butterflies. He had to give away 60 tickets for friends and family tonight.
Oh, Claire, you can just sense what a special moment talking to him earlier this week. BC ball, and there's another guy, in effect, coming back to Quebec, growing up, Justin McInnes, but Blainville, Quebec is where Beaulieu is from. It's only about a half hour away, and yeah, it must be neat to having idolized the Alouettes to come back and even playing against them, but to be in the stadium.
Yeah, no question, great experience. Beaulieu doing a terrific job.
Quickly working to Javon Catoy on that first down for BC after the play by McInnes. Pick up a 3. So still 1-score game, 8-point deficit now. The Lions are still hanging around, even though it seems like the Alouettes have all the momentum. A lot of that is because of all the penalties that BC has taken. Their offense still with more net yards than Montreal's. 276. Nathan Rourke, 14 to 20 for 209, but sensing some pressure on BC now. Trailing 17 to 9 late. Final minute. 3rd quarter. Pump fake. Rourke. Deeper look, and it's caught too. It's McInnes again. And that one is inside the Alouette 30. Getting close to 3-quarter time. Here comes BC.
Yeah, and again, it's the poise of Nathan Rourke. He's flush from the pocket. He's thinking about running, but eyes are still downfield. And there's an opportunity to make a play. The thing that strikes you at the end of this one is just that catch radius of Justin McInnes at about 6'5", 6'6".
Rourke is taken down. Taiwan Mullen, the cover linebacker, coming in. And after that big play to McInnes. It's a loss of 5 yards for BC.
Well, Taiwan Mullen taking over that nickel or cover linebacker spot. Bottom right corner of your screen off the left edge of the defense. Hesitates slightly on the run fake, but just keeps going. Unblocked man in that scheme.
Rourke had been able to evade a lot of that Alouette pressure, but not that time. Loss of 5. High snap. Rourke pulls it down. Gets rid of it. And it's high for Berryhill. And that play was just a mess from the start for BC. And the quarter comes to an end. And it is 3rd and 15 coming up. Big play to get them down the field. But the last couple of plays, they just as soon forget. The final 15 getting ready to start. The Alouettes have opened up an 8-point lead here in Montreal. And so the fourth quarter is about to begin here in Montreal. The Alouettes up 17-9 now. Hey, you look at those numbers, you can see why BC is hanging around, Dwayne, even though that last drive, it looked so promising, but ended up being snuffed out. Yeah,
if there were a column in the stats line for errors, whether unforced or not, because you got to give the Montreal defense some credit for snuffing out some of these drives. But yeah, BC putting themselves in a pretty good position in terms of the number of opportunities they've had, but it's that failure to finish that's been a bit of the story of this football game.
Most recently, big play to Justin McInnes. You see Sean White out, though, to try a field goal and see if they can make it back to 5 points again, but they were working right down on that big play. He's made 20 consecutive field goals. He had a long streak that ended last season carrying over from 23. And in terms of percentage, right now, the greatest in the history of the game. This is 38 yards. White's over 88% for his career. Out and down for Meyer, and White kicks that one through. So they do get 3 on the board. And something there, and I'll tell you, you don't want to see Dwayne Ford when he's angry. Action hero night at Wimbledon. Speaking of green, we got the Hulk, and then you got the All England Club. What kind of segue is that? Wimbledon continuing with a round of 16 action. Coverage beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Pacific. That's on TSN and TSN Plus. Now, as far as superheroes go, were you a fan of the Hulk?
How could you not be a fan of the Hulk?
Yeah. And also, Iron Man's there. Black Panther. Wolverine. They all showed up tonight. This night of superheroes. Sean Thomas Erlington dressed up as himself and having a pretty good night.
A bit of a revival sort of year for Sean Thomas Erlington. Had an opportunity during his time in Hamilton to spend some time as the feature back. Largely in a backup role last season in his first in Montreal, but really getting an opportunity this year and making the most of it.
Blitz coming. Patrice Rene coming in and getting rid of it quickly is MBT for Thomas Erlington. Robert Carter gets to him, so the Lions defense does its job. It's a 3rd and 7, and Joseph Zima is going to come out to punt it away.
And you can see this one unfolding in slow motion. Thomas Erlington coming right at you in slow motion. But Robert Carter sniffed this one all the way and sort of meets him at the target point.
And so again, BC very much in this game, down only 5. Certainly have been able to rack up the yardage, just shooting themselves in the foot, whether through penalty, a few other things. But we're early fourth quarter and about to get the ball back, down just 17-12. Good punt, Zima. Jackson takes it at the 10. No, coming in to get him is another special team specialist in Tyrese Beverette. He has a history of that. Punt of 57 yards. A flag does come out. Jackson had nowhere to go with Beverette coming in. Gorgeous night in Montreal. Home game number 2, Alouettes. Home side's leading it by 5. Well, I still say Tyrese Beverette's a great special teams player as well, but this might have been a little excessive, Wayne.
Yes, you'll see him as he wraps up Jermaine Jackson on the tackle, and bit of a headlock and wrestles the helmet off. This earned Beverette the unnecessary roughness call that's going to give the BC Lions a few extra yards tacked onto that return.
Finally, a penalty against Montreal. BC's seen too much the other way. Still 121-40 in yardage. Some pressure coming on Nathan Rourke. He escapes it. Going off to his left. And more heat coming in Vaughns. He gets away from that. Vaughns finally tackles him, but not until he gets up across the 40 and close to another BC first down. Give him 9 more yards on the ground for Nathan Rourke.
I just picture Buck Pierce holding his breath, not at the initial portion of the run, but when Rourke decides he's going to cut back to the inside here, heading for the teeth of this Alouette defense. But a positive play to create the second and short.
He stays in for short yardage. Looked like it bobbled a little bit on the exchange, but then a second effort by Nathan Rourke, and looks like he would have enough. Had to get it to the 42. Yes, indeed, for another first down for BC. As the Sticks are on the move.
Take a look at that initial exchange. Nathan Rourke had a little bit of trouble getting a handle on that one that may have delayed his get off.
First down. BC down 17-12, fourth quarter, throwing to the right. Open, caught, McInnes. And a good pickup on first down. It'll be second and a yard or two for the Lions.
And McInnes lined up out wide, top of your screen. You see the corner bailing on that one. Fabianento giving McInnes plenty of room. Nathan Rourke just taking what's there.
Just across the Lions 50. There's Marc-Antoine Dequoy, one of the leaders in that Alouette defense. One of the top safeties in the game. Short yardage again. Rourke got him. Tries to lunge forward. Like Oakman getting in and getting his feet. That was a second down. They had 2 plays to get that first.
We saw Oakman on a blocked kick earlier in this ball game. Getting up in the air. This time it's Oakman getting down low. Fits his gap.
Well, I'll ask the question that might be on the minds of some Lions fans. Do you want Nathan Rourke in on short yardage? He's been taking it all night. Just when you know how valuable he is and not wanting him to get hurt again. Here we are. It's another short yardage play with Rourke. Right side, tucks it up, and we'll have the first down up to about the 52. And don't get me wrong, very good at it. He's scored a touchdown from 2 yards out in the first half.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams with some different strategies in terms of player deployment in short yardage situations. Last year, obviously, different coaching staff in BC. We saw for a time fullback David Mackey would handle some of the short yardage snaps, much like we've seen in Hamilton with Ante Litre going under center. Running back just taking the ball directly. You know, you don't have a Chris Strevler or a Tommy Stevens kind of player necessarily at the quarterback position in BC, and Caleb Evans. That
the replay center has moved the spot a ball length, so it will be a first down.
It's a little closer than initially appeared, and the replay center, much to the fan chagrin, helping out the Lions there by spotting the football a little further up. So that's where Rourke went down. But to your point about the Lions, it was last year here in this building, last September, David Mackey, the fullback, since retired, not only took the short yardage, he busted one for 18 yards for the opening touchdown in that game. Nathan Rourke doing all the short yardage here on the night. Little fake there to Butler. He rolls to the right. And down and no. It's for Hatcher inside the 40. It is incomplete. Deontay Ruffin there for the Alouettes. Second down coming up.
Yeah, Ruffin playing on that corner had been a guy who was something of a fixture in the Alouettes starting secondary, but Lorenzo Burns joining the Alouettes last year, taking over that spot. Ruffin remaining as the insurance policy, a pretty good one to have. Veteran guy in the Canadian Football League, started his career in Calgary before moving over to Montreal.
Under 10 minutes to go. It's a 2nd and 10. BC football just shy of midfield. Quickly, Rourke trying Hatcher on that hitter, coming in on that slant. Najee Murray is there, and it is incomplete, and it's a 3rd down. Punting unit coming on for the Lions.
And you're going to see Murray in tight coverage. Times is pretty well doing just enough to disrupt the arms as the ball arrives of the intended receiver, Keon Hatcher.
Davis Alexander loving that. Hatcher targeted 5 times. He has 1 catch for 18 yards. One of the Lions' top receivers is Alexander, the #1 quarterback for the Alouettes, can only look on, missing his 2nd straight start. But liking what he saw there, and on the punt, it rolls out just inside the 20. Little discussion between Patrice Rene and the rookie Akeem Harris. So McLeod Bethel Thompson coming back on as the Alouettes are trying to protect a 5-point lead. How cool was this last night in Toronto? Hey, Dwayne Ford was there to witness some history. Janarian Grant already had a kick return touchdown. Isaiah Wooden, his turn. And for New Westminster's Roy Lister, $1 million richer, thanks to the Save on Foods promotion that finally cashes in.
Yeah, great to see. Maybe not so much for the 2 opposing special teams coordinators in that one, but
they're not celebrating for Roy. Save on Foods. And congratulations to Roy Lister. That was last night. 2 kick return touchdowns in the same game. It finally happened. Clyde Bethel Thompson under pressure just tries to get rid of it in the vicinity of Travis Tice. Is taken down as well.
Bethel Thompson going underhand with that one just to basically find an avenue around the defender. Be able to throw this ball for the incompletion and avoid the loss.
It was Kamoko Toure, first-year Lion, coming in, putting the heat on MBT. .43 and counting. 17-12. Big 2nd and 10 for both of these units now. 4-man rush on Bethel Thompson, gets rid of it. It is caught by Tice. Gets it up across the 30, and another big 1st down for the Montreal Alouettes. 13 more yards from that catch by Travis Tice.
Bethel Thompson facing a little bit of pressure, steps out of the pocket.
BC #3, 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Nice job by McLeod Bethel Thompson to keep the play alive. And there you saw the left hand of Micah Alway catch the face mask of Travis Tice, pushing the Owls out near midfield.
More penalty yardage incurred by the BC Lions in this night. Drive continues. Tice again. He is tripped up. It's Alway who got to him, but still does manage to pick up a few more yards. Call it 6. Got a 2nd and 4 coming up here for Montreal, approaching midfield.
Well, I use the word noticeable. Travis Tice is a guy who, to me, has been noticeable through the first month of the season whenever he has the ball in his hands.
I've said this before, the preseason game in Ottawa for Montreal, when no projected starters or roster players were playing, he's one of the few guys that really stood out in that game in kick returns and on offense, and it did look like it'd be difficult to cut him, and they hung on. They made a big decision Jason Lawson, a lot of praise for Walter Fletcher.
Timeout, BC.
They chose to part with Fletcher and keep Stevie Scott and Travis Tice, and of course along with the Canadian Sean Thomas Erlington. And tonight is a night where their ground game has a lot more to show for it than it did a week ago in Hamilton.
Here you see too many men on the field. Last man, Josh Woods, trying to get off the field but didn't quite make it in time.
Wow, that kind of night for Buck Pierce and the Lions, isn't it?
Well, the positive from a BC point of view is that despite the mistakes, despite the missed opportunities, despite the penalties, you've got a one-score ball game halfway through the fourth quarter on the road against one of the league's top teams.
You're right. They're only down 5. Second down and 4 out of the hands of Tice that time. Jumps on it, but that's incomplete. And so they're going to get the ball back halfway through this fourth quarter now, as Montreal is going to have to punt.
If we can watch the eyes of Tice here, maybe glancing up at oncoming defenders just as the ball arrived. See him start to turn his head before he's got control of the football.
Bethel Thompson's 12 for 19, so 7 incompletions, but 3 of them were drops. And this one results in Zima around his 40. Wayne Jackson takes it on the run, 25, 30. Still finds his way up to about the 38 for Nathan Rourke for an 18-yard return. Rourke back on, needing a drive for a touchdown to retake the lead. Auto racing fans, Indy Week right around the corner. The Ontario Honda Dealers Indy Toronto will take place Sunday, July the 20th. And you can tune in at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on TSN and TSN Plus for that. Lions fans haven't given up hope. Not yet. Yeah, and superhero night. Needing some heroics from Nathan Rourke and BC here, the visitors in Montreal. 17-12, 6:57 and counting. The Lions have a chance. The Alouettes have the lead. A flag comes out and a play-action pass deep over the middle, and coverage is there on Stanley Berryhill. Beverette's there, Murray's there. Coverage is good. See what the flag's all about.
Procedure, no end, BC. That penalty be declined. Second down.
Wouldn't have mattered anyway.
I wondered a little bit as I watched this formation unfold. 3 receivers motioned over to the left side, left literally no one on the right side. So it was just the tackle. It was the last man on the line of scrimmage over there.
Rourke and the Lions came here a year ago, last September, and they won. They've won back-to-back games in Montreal, 3 of the last 4 years. Big second down now. Rourke gets rid of it. It is caught. It's McInnes across the 50 and a first down for BC. 14 more yards for Justin McInnes to quiet the crowd.
And tremendous concentration here as you'll get a great look at McInnes working across the field. The defender coming downhill on him as that ball approaches.
Justin McInnes of Pierrefonds, Quebec, coming home. He has 6 catches for 109 yards and a longest of 31. That one keeps a drive going near midfield. Rourke to pass again. Under pressure, he gets it away to the right. And it's underthrown, and Stanley Berryhill wanted a flag on that coverage by Wesley Sutton, but does not get it. And a flag, though, is back in the Lions' backfield where Rourke got rid of it. And barely got rid of it. And BC needs a flag to go against the Alouettes. The way this game has gone, desperately.
Yeah, in the territory, you suspect it's going to go against the BC Lions. See, I think there might have been a hold here by the right guard, Una.
They've marched him back on that.
Yeah, Rourke standing in there to take a hit, looking for the deep ball. They just haven't been able to connect. Lapo talked a little bit about it at halftime. Haven't been able to connect on that big play, looking for Berryhill a couple times, as well as Keon Hatcher early on.
Now are they moving the ball back to the original line of scrimmage? A discussion here with Buck Pierce. And the ball is now being placed right back at the 52 of BC.
We have 2 fouls on the play. Holding, BC number 61, defensive pass interference on Montreal. We'll bounce those penalties and repeat first down.
So Berryhill had wanted the PI, and he ends up getting it.
Yeah, here you'll see it at the end. Berryhill, the deep receiver. A little bit of contact there with Wes Sutton as he's trying to fight back to the football. There you see at the very end, Sutton wrapping his arms around.
To the end result, offsetting penalties, 1st and 10. Up near midfield. 5:37 to go in the 4th quarter. Crowd picking up again. With the opposing offense on the field. Rourke. Play action fake. Lots of time. Gets knocked at the line of scrimmage. And Nadiemi Berglund was the closest with it coming down. Looking for a pick. Not quite, but we've seen this from Montreal's defensive line before. Lawal Uguak in there. And Sean Oakman, all 6'9" up. They get their hands up. They cause trouble for opposing QB.
And there's the big fella. Never hard to find. Double team there. Not getting upfield, but just eyes on the quarterback.
And just perfectly timed as well, Dwayne, when he got the hand up.
I'd like to see him work in the Dikembe Mutombo finger after a couple of those.
Oh, no. Throwing again. Yes. Yes, BC. Flag comes out. Ball comes out. And they sort that out. It was caught by Hatcher. And he was going down. And Ento has the ball in his hands. Again, another one of those plays where they have a few things they got to sort out. Looked like the flag came out even before the fumble. If it was, in fact, a fumble. Noel Thorpe not liking it on the Alouette sideline. What seems to have been decided here. Ball right now spotted.
Keep an eye here on Marc-Antoine Dequoy, Alouette safety. Right
There's
there,
no
bumping
flag
the
on the
receiver.
play. Ball's placed at the 46-yard line. Runner was down before he fumbled. First down.
And there was some debate about illegal contact on the play, but ultimately the ball had been thrown by that point.
So the bottom line, good for BC. They get it down to the Alouette 46. It's a 1st and 10. Ento doesn't like it. Alouettes don't like it. Their fans don't like it. Their team still leads 17-12. Under 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Here comes BC. Here come the Owls. Deep throw, right, open, touchdown. Stanley Berryhill has it. Wow. 46 yards. Berryhill, who had 2 touchdowns in game 1 in their 1 win this season, back in their opener a month ago. What a big touchdown now.
Well, they've been looking deep all game, hadn't been able to connect, but making it happen in rather electric fashion here. Nathan Rourke just lets her rip. You saw Dequoy there, lost his footing. leaving Berryhill streaking to the end zone uncovered.
And now with a 1-point lead, they will go for 2 to see if they can go up a field goal. Got some drama going on here at McGill. Late on a Saturday night in Montreal. 6 plays, 72 yards. Can they cap it off with 2 more? Rourke into the end zone deep, and no, too far. So they remain on top. That was intended for McInnes, but that's incomplete. But BC has the lead again. It is 18-17. Still lots of time, 4.5 minutes here in the fourth quarter.
And Berryhill lines up on the outside. On this one, he and Justin McInnes working in tandem. McInnes pulls coverage down, leaving Duquois by himself. He blows a tire on that one, and Berryhill's off to the races.
Love Berryhill's reaction, too, as he was trying to tiptoe into the end zone. Frustration for Noel Thorpe, but it was like Berryhill had to wait for a moment to see if he was getting the call.
Checked with the official to make sure that he had successfully stayed in bounds as he was losing his balance there, fighting his way in.
Stanley Berryhill, second-year Lion, and back in the lineup after missing a couple of weeks with a thigh injury. Mentioned leading receiver in week 1. He had 6 catches for 105 and 2 big touchdowns. That's as many TDs, by the way, as he had in his rookie season last year. So now he's past that with number 3. Off the kickoff. Travis Tice is back for it. 25, 30. Riley Pickett among those covering as he gets up near 35. So back comes McLeod, Bethel Thompson, and some pressure on the Alouettes now, who've led much of the night. And a productive game for the backup quarterback overall, with 172 yards passing, but a couple of touchdown passes thrown and no interceptions. Another key stat. He's 12 for 19. Some work to do right now, though, with Montreal behind.
Montreal, though the margin has never been large in this game, it has largely felt like a game where Montreal had control, at least in terms of the momentum, the flow of the ball game.
They really have. Throwing now and over the middle in coverage. Going up for it is Philpott, and Robert Carter was right there with him. He had a shot at it. It goes incomplete. It's a 2nd and 10. And yes, another big 2nd and long coming up here for Montreal.
Yeah, Philpott working right to left all the way across the field. You see Carter going with him. Just slightly overthrown there. Tyson Philpott unable to reel it in.
He had the touchdown on Montreal's first drive, capping off a 3-play drive. Off to the left. It's caught just across the 40 by Cole Speaker. Not enough for a first down, though. We got a 3rd down coming up. Gain of 7. And the Alouettes, the looks of things, are going to have to...
Speaker up at the top of your screen.
Punt this one away.
Timeout, Montreal.
Well, offense still out on the field, and a timeout called. 3rd down and 3 coming up here. They're in their own zone. Bethel Thompson remains on the field in the huddle. You gambling, man? 3rd and 3. What do you think?
You know, for me, with the amount of time left in the world of Canadian football, I would probably kick from here, personally, but I am not a gambling man.
And what do we see now with the punting unit coming on? Well, they had us for a moment there. Joseph Zima will come on, but for a while the offense did hang around, thinking would they actually go for it, but no. Zima's on inside his 30. There's Byron Archambault, the special teams coordinator for the Montreal Alouettes, and there's Jermaine Jackson now on for the return, standing inside his 30. So 1-point lead for the Lions, and they are to get the ball back here with Jackson backpedaling close to his 10. takes off, does well to get it across the 20 to about the 23 after a 56-yard punt by Zima. So last time out, Nathan Rourke and the Lions got into the end zone again and a touchdown pass to Stanley Berryhill. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, but they did take over the lead. It's a 1-point edge. 3 minutes, 28 seconds on the clock here at Molson Stadium. What a finish we have in store between the Lions and Owls.
And be interesting to see here how much of a role James Butler plays for the BC Lions. As they want to get that clock running, obviously reduce the risk in terms of ball handling, putting it in the air.
Crowd picking up. Butler in the backfield. He gets the ball, working his way through across the 25 to about the 26-yard line. 3:05 and counting down with the warning coming up. A 5-yard pickup. And after the warning, it will be a 2nd and 5 coming up for BC. Lions trailed much of this game. As Dwayne Ford talked about, it felt like all the edge was with Montreal. But they've lost their lead now. Looking for a chance to get the ball back. BC football. Coming up tomorrow, Week 5 wraps up in Edmonton. The Ottawa Red Blacks against the Edmonton Elks. Tyrell Ford, brother Trey, Drew Brown back in the game at quarterback for Ottawa. He got injured back against the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Week 1. There's Trey. Elks need a win. Red Blacks need a win. And that's how we finish up Week 5 on TSN tomorrow from Edmonton. BC Lions need a win. They're 1-3. They have the lead. Under 3 minutes to go. They have the ball. Rourke rolling to his right. And no. Intended for Hatcher and denied by Tyrese Beverett, the Eastern nominee for top defensive player in 2024. That was on a 2nd and 5, Dwayne.
And in terms of formation, BC gives a bit of a run look, 2nd and medium. They've got some options here, and that's what they're trying to sell the Alouettes on. Moving Rourke around in the pocket. If he keeps that throw maybe just a little more to the outside, away from the oncoming receiver, or defender rather, maybe have a better shot at that.
That was the first 2 and out by the BC Lions since the first quarter. Carl Meyer to punt it away to James Letcher inside his 30. 2:34 in the clock. Letcher finds some room. Cross the 40, 45. Tripped up. Kyle Nelson, the long snapper there. He tripped over him near midfield, but what a spot for a big return. Biggest of the night for Letcher. That set up the Montreal offense nicely. 2:24 in the clock, down by 1.
Letcher turning on the Jets here. A couple of BC Lions overrun him initially as he turned that one upfield. You know, and as we take a look again at this James Letcher return, you know, they're so concerned with him dipping back to get to the outside. A couple of players got too deep there.
Now that'll make a special teams coordinator happy.
Yes, sir. Byron Archambault enjoying the moment. Now, one of the things that stands out to me, you look at the scoreboard, the time Montreal with an opportunity here. Think back to the first half and a blocked extra point.
Yeah.
Right? Add that point, and then that puts Montreal, or BC rather, in a situation on their last touchdown where they don't have to go for 2, where they can kick again, likely up by 3. A BC field goal only ties the game rather than, or a Montreal field goal only ties the game at this point rather than giving the Alouettes the lead.
Where special teams makes a difference again. Now there is a special teams player. It's Adam Auclair down for the Lions. He's finally helped up now. Auclair, one of the many Quebecers coming back to his home province, product of Laval, and not looking good there as he's helped off by Horvath and Lions training staff as well. This is what happened to Adam Auclair in that play.
At 25 the middle of the three guys you see coming down the field. Yeah, it really looked like a non-contact injury. He was tied up with Nate Boschman there, but clearly just tweaked something on the run down.
Sean Thomas Erlington, the running back, the fake to him, and the throw for Charleston Rambo. Trying to crawl a little bit more. Initially not touched, and a gain of 6. 2:19, thinking field goal range at the very least here.
And watching that clock as well, I mean, part of the strategy here for Montreal, you're trying to put yourself in position to score, but you're also trying to leave the other team with as little time as possible to potentially answer.
Jose Maltos' longest of the season is 50 yards. Scrimmaging from the 50 now, breaking through! Sean Thomas Erlington again! Well, at the very least, they're in field goal range now. Another big run for 21, Sean Thomas Erlington, and timely too.
Yeah, think back early in this game to a Thomas Erlington run where he disappeared into the pile and popped out the other side somehow. Very similar here. Turns sideways, makes a couple of Lions miss. And an absolutely critical gain there for the Montreal running back.
That's more like it for him.
BC.
And the Lions take a timeout. Mention he had only 1 yard gained on 2 carries last week, Sean Thomas Erlington in Hamilton. And on this night with that carry is 9 carries for 68 yards and a longest of 20. And also a receiving touchdown, 2 catches, 22 yards, and a TD. So quite a night for Sean Thomas Erlington. Not over yet. They're still trailing, but they're in good shape right now with 1:47 on the clock, and the Lions taking a timeout.
Timer, please put 1:50 on the clock. Thank you.
Jose Maltos, 1 for 2 on the night. Longest was a 30-yarder that he got from Monterrey, Mexico, and he's been a great kicker in the CFL. He came in the top scorer in the CFL. All the opportunities he's had, more than any other kicker this season. Came in at 14 of 15, and he has a moment knowing what might be coming up for him. Unless the Alouettes can do something better. Or in the context for the Lions, looking for a turnover. Something worse. But Maltos may have a chance to win it. Low snap. It dribbles to Bethel Thompson, and he manages to get it to Thomas Erlington, who pushes his way with a crowd. And a few shots after, and there's another one from Donnie Ventrelli on Robert Carter. No flags out. At the 28.
This play is lemonade from lemons. Starts off bad with a snap that rolls back there, but fortunately the offensive line able to stay on their blocks. Bethel Thompson and Thomas Erlington able to recover. Turn that into a positive play.
Thibaut Debaye is the Lion who's injured.
Well, we mentioned earlier, already missing a couple of players from that D-line rotation, particularly interior guys. And Hendricks and Tavai on the injured list. Thibaut Debaye, another guy who plays his share of snaps in there. So Lions defensive line hurting a little bit here.
Mike Benavides is the defensive coordinator for BC. And another concern up front for the Lions. Another look.
You'll see Debaye, number 40. He's just trying to hang on. Just banged around a little bit in the middle of the action.
2nd and 6. Best case scenario, barring a turnover for the Lions, they can hang on here, force a field goal, and hope they still have some time to drive back down with the same opportunity. See what McLeod Bethel Thompson has in store in this 2nd and 6 at the BC 29. Four-man rush. He has time. There's a first down, too. Just past the marker. Their top receiver coming in. Tyler Snead has it. As this drive will continue. 8 more yards for Snead.
Clutch play right there for Tyler Snead. Looking from the slot. Rambo goes deep. Snead on the out again. Common route combination. Nice execution there to move the sticks.
1:20 in the clock. The BC 21. Back on the ground, Sean Thomas Erlington. And picks up a few more yards to get it down to around the 17, about 4 more. 1:15. Short field goal range now for Jose Maltos. Well, this drive isn't over yet. And they're happy to take off as much time as they can.
Yeah, Alouettes have done a pretty good job of execution here, beginning. The big kick return from James Letcher that gave them solid field position to start the possession.
From the 17, 2nd and 6. Bethel Thompson wants to take off. He will not get the first down. They're still set up nicely for the field goal try. Just picks up about a yard there. So 3rd down coming up. The Alouettes, who had had the lead for much of this game, lost that lead in the last BC possession. There were a couple of possessions ago, looking to retake it late in this game.
And recognizing that in this situation, you're in field goal range. It was all about protecting the ball from McLeod Bethel Thompson. If the sure pass wasn't there, he was just going to tuck it, run, protect the football, as he did, and give Jose Maltos a chance.
23-yard try for Jose Maltos. Took over as the starting kicker last year after the injury to the now retired David Cote. It's out, it's down, it's kicked, and it's through. And the Montreal Alouettes have the lead again, 20-18, with 28 seconds to go. One of those superhero fans showing the right biceps is a tribute to Jose Maltos, who in other games had been flexing after he made a successful field goal.
Perfect execution on the kick. And Jose
After the
Maltos.
play, a 15-yard misconduct penalty on Montreal 66. They will kick off from their 15-yard line.
Shortening the field with a penalty at the end of the play, Pierre-Olivier Lestage.
That could be big. On a night of penalties going against BC, Jason Moss.
Yeah, he's looking for an explanation.
Still 28 seconds to go. We've seen stranger things in the CFL in less time than this. Looks good for Montreal, up by 2, but the Lions just somehow want to find a way to get it close enough for Sean White. See the punch at the bottom of the screen to the left? That was it. Or maybe that was it.
A little extra pushing and shoving at the end of the play, and that's when the flag is thrown.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was that second one that shoved. And Moss doesn't like it because they are deep to kick this off. I mean, 28 seconds. If Jackson can get any kind of return going now. Not over yet for BC. Good kickoff from Maltos. 30, 35. 26 seconds on the clock. Gagne and a pack in there around the 43. Nathan Rourke has a short period of time to somehow get them down close enough for a field goal try. He did have a game-winning drive a couple of years ago in that stellar half season he had with BC in 2022. too against the Stampeders. But this is daunting, but not impossible.
Well, Justin McInnes in his halftime interview with Claire referred to his quarterback as a magician. And they're going to need a little bit of that magic from Nathan Rourke right here to have a shot.
From the 43, 22 seconds, down by 2. Rourke throwing. It is caught right at midfield by Hatcher. He went up for it. Ruffin there to meet him. Hatcher hangs on. 55 yards away, and they're working tempo. 16 seconds on the clock.
The replay center has moved the ball to the 54-yard line, where it will be a first down.
Yeah, Hatcher was looking for that. You look at where he actually caught the football and was driven back when he was in the air.
Need to get it closer for Sean White. 12 seconds. Caught again inside the 50. Talking about one around midfield now. They can get one more playoff. 8 seconds. Just a few more yards. White's longest this season is 43. Quickly again. Knocked away at the line of scrimmage with 3 seconds left. The Alouette defense rises up again.
This is something they have done so well in this early part of the season. Second man from the bottom, number 96. Beverett 26 on the outside, then Uguak. This D-line doing as good a job as anyone. No field goal attempt here.
Nope, last chance. Caught by Javon Katoy, hoping that he could keep some time on the clock, but no. Well, the stadium clock says 2.
Yeah, 0.2 seconds on the clock. To me, he was actually down before that, and the clock kept rolling for about a second and a half. So we'll see if they put anything back. Well, not that it really matters at this point.
This is incredible. Katoy immediately going down after catching it, and we got zeros on our clock, but no, 0.2 seconds left. They're putting a bit of time left, and yes, BC will have the chance to win it. How about this for the BC Lions? It'll be a 44-yard try, which would be a season high for the veteran Sean White.
A longer attempt automatically has a little bit lower trajectory on the kick. Keep an eye on Sean Oakman in the middle of this Montreal defense, who has already blocked a kick in this football game.
Kyle Nelson will snap the ball. Carl Meyer will put it down. Sean White will try to give the victory to the BC Lions on the final play.
Timeout, Montreal.
Ice him.
Pretty hard to ice that guy in all his years.
17 years in for Sean White. Knows that stadium. Watch the clock in the top right corner of your screen. Katoy catches it, takes a couple steps. He's down and touched.
Easily down.
Yeah, at about 1.4, 1.3. They put the clock back to a second. You see Buck Pierce making his case as his field goal team was headed out there anyway.
Gets it down to the 36. Alertly done by Katoy to give the Lions a chance. 22 for 23 on lead-changing field goal attempts in the final 3 minutes or overtime. This is the final play. For the win. White. It is good. The BC Lions come back and get the victory in Montreal.
Sean White, one of the greatest clutch kickers in the history of the Canadian Football League, does it again for the win.
What an amazing final couple of minutes. Back and forth, and it ends there. one of the best kickers, arguably the best of all time, in Sean White. Buck Pierce, reason to celebrate. Their second win of the season, 8th career walk-off winning field goal for Sean White.
BC Lions find a way in a game in which, despite penalties, some missed opportunities out on the field, kept the game close, gave themselves a chance, right down to literally the last second.
And the Alouettes stunned. Sean White celebrating and standing by now with Claire Hanna. Claire?
Sean, just what are some of your emotions after making that kick, leading your team to the win here?
Man, just to be a part of this team and to win one is huge. That team is, they're doing everything in their power to get me in range and to contribute. It means a lot. So we needed that win bad.
With less than 5 minutes left, you guys were down by 5 points. There were so many possession changes, lead changes. At that point in the game, what were you thinking?
Oh, I was getting ready for a game winner. I thought I was going to have to hit 2 field goals to win it. But I was ready for the last 5 minutes. I've been pacing myself with my kicks, but I was getting ready.
You said that this win is so important. Why?
Oh, we just need some momentum. I feel like we're a great team. We're just not getting the bounces, we're not getting the calls, and we just need a win, and this is huge for us. And it'll be a nice plane ride home.
Congratulations. Thank you, Sean.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Rod and Dwayne.
Thank you, Claire. There was a fight afterwards, actually. You see they're still milling about, Dwayne. This is what happened after this game was already decided.
Yeah, things pretty heated after the winning kick.
That's Kamoko Toure and Isaac Adeyemi Berglund. Each side in the mix, and then a lot more players jump in.
Quite a mob scene over there between the two locker rooms is where this is taking place.
Just some ugliness amidst the celebration for the BC Lions. Too bad to see it end this way. BC was just trying to enjoy the victory. You see Davis Alexander getting in the mix like a peacemaker there, but still messy. And finally settling down Buck Pierce with some words with McLeod Bethel Thompson. And Sean White, 3 for 3 on the night. What a night it was, starting with that pick by the Owls. Quickly went down for a touchdown, had the lead through most of this game. The BC came back and had to come back again just to get close enough to set it up for Sean White. The Lions, they improved to 2-3. The Alouettes have lost 2 in a row. Still first in the East, but a lot closer with Hamilton there. You got the Red Blacks and Elks tomorrow. Thanks for watching the CFL on TSN. Have a great night, everybody.